Hello, welcome to another edition of That Millwall podcast, the Sunday Night Live. We will shortly be joined by one of the regular Sunday Night Live panelists, Mickey. But for now, you've got myself, Stephen. We're also joined by Dan. Dan, how are you?
About as enthusiastic as our style of football.
Okay, hashtag negative Dan already in the comments. And we're also joined by Mr. Joe Zampa. Joe, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm great. what a day. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, isn't it? I guess we've got to talk about it and try and sort of dilute where the problems are at the moment and see what we can try and muster, from it all.
Yeah, I mean, evening, Darren. Again, anyone in the comments, please feel free to send us your questions, thoughts on the game today, Millwall in general. Obviously, we've come off the back of a very tough afternoon for spectators at SC16, and I think this comment I've just put on the High Boys shit game, wasn't it? It's hard to argue with that. Obviously, today the Lions fell to a 3-0 defeat home to Leeds. Very tough watching. I know there's been a very, very strong, row it out brigade. There's also been differences in opinions on how we've played. Dan, I'm going to first come to you. I know it's very difficult, but we just never really got going, did we?
The first 10 minutes, I thought we were quite good. The intensity was there. The press was there. We kind of had them where we wanted to have them on the back foot, putting pressure on them. Obviously there was that disallowed goal where Bradshaw, you can't touch a goalkeeper these days. So sadly, you can't, it was always going to get disallowed. Obviously the first goal does change the game a little bit, but we stopped doing everything that was good just because we kind of got hit on the counter attack once, which was so disappointing because it was a sloppy goal to give away on the counter attack. Don't get me wrong, but we've been playing so up until then. Their defence looked nervous and shaky. I think after that first 10 minutes, I can only recall their goalkeeper having to make 2 saves, one from Longman about halfway through the first half, and then the second one was just after the restart when Bradshaw had his shot from the edge of the box saved as well. That's it. So little to get excited about. So little to bring a full sellout Den crowd into proceedings yet again. I feel like a bit of a broken record for saying this about sellout dens, but that's where we're at the minute, unfortunately. And especially against Leeds, that it hurts a bit more.
Yeah, I'm just trying to keep up with some of the comments here. Joe, I'll come to you as well. A lot of the comments from the guys in the sort of on the YouTube and Twitter are sort of saying row it out, time to go. Before we get into the actual sort of dissect the game, where do you stand on that? What foot is your camp in or out?
In regards to Rowett,
Gary Rowett, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tough because he's an experienced Championship manager, isn't he? I mean, everyone else seems to rate him as a manager. They talk about his pedigree, how experienced he is as a Championship manager. In some ways, we kind of should be almost like grateful that we've got him in the helm. And he hasn't done too badly since he's been in charge of us, has he? However, I just can't understand his tactical mindset sometimes. He's almost like bipolar at the moment. 1 minute he's just really, really negative, and then you hit the 65th minute, and he's gone like fucking mental. Like he's just gone gung ho with like 6 attacking players, leaving Billy Mitchell on his own, leaving him exposed, which has cost us 2 goals on the break. We've got no defensive minded midfielders. You're asking Essay and Fleming to track back and stop, them from scoring. That's not really their game, is it? And I listened to his interview after the game with Mark, I think it was, and he's talking about 1-0 down. You've got to be adventurous. You've got to go for it with a home team. Why are you fucking deciding that at the 65th minute when you're 1-0 down? Why don't you start from the first minute in that mindset? I'm not saying go mental, but I just don't get that. The kind of how can you be thinking defensively so defensively? I mean, you're dropping Fleming, but you're not even replacing Fleming with Essay. I mean, I get Fleming needs to be dropped. A lot of us have been crying out for a few games now, and I think he needs to be dropped just to kind of show him, listen, you can't just walk into this team and think you're gonna start and play. But what you don't do is take out a creative player and then put another defensive midfield player on, and you effectively got 3 defensive-minded midfielders and no creative spot whatsoever. You know, as good as Nisbet and Bradshaw are, neither of them can run or carry a ball with them. They ain't got the pace to do it either. They're not really that great in the air or that strong to hold the ball up. So what is the game plan? What are you trying to achieve? You know, he mentioned about, how great we were in the first 10, 15 minutes and how we're pumping balls in the box and we should have made more of it. But you haven't got a fucking a target man there make a difference. If you're signing a big centre forward and you're pumping balls in the box, okay, I get it. You've got a game plan. That's what you want to do. But you're trying to play a system and a game plan that doesn't suit the players again. And when's he going to get that through his head? You know, I would have dropped Fleming, but I would have put Essay in there or Nisbet or something. You've got to have some fucking attacking plan or something. You can't just sit back and expect you to fucking go and nick a game, and defend.
Yeah. Let's talk about Fleming quickly, because what Joe said about that kind of defensive mindset, we all kind of saw it, I think, from 11 o'clock when the team sheet came out on social media. Listen, I said a few weeks ago, I think maybe Fleming should have been dropped. His performance against, I think that was before the Stoke game. Performance in that one was okay. Performance against Birmingham was a bit meh. Maybe, he should have been dropped, but I think there's a time and a place to do it. And I don't think against a game against one of your biggest rivals, given the history between the two sides, I don't think that's the best time to do it, to be completely honest. And like Joe said, you can't do it and not put in one of either Esse, Yamaku, Watmore to go and play in that role, because there were so many times when the ball went forwards, the long ball went forwards, and it would be Nisbet and Bradshaw together, and then there'd be such a big gap between. It would be a 6-on-2 effectively with all their 4 defenders, and then their 2 defensive midfielders as well. It was just embarrassing.
I think on that as well with Fleming, I think there's been calls to drop him, and I think rightly so. I think we have to be honest. He's not been the Zian Fleming that we had last year. No. However, and to touch on what Dan said, I don't think today was the right game to do it. Your big match our big match players that we had in the squad today, realistically, the players that you would want to be on the pitch, both of them, in my opinion, weren't playing. Zian Fleming and George Saville. I think they're players that have got experience of big games, have got experience of big atmospheres. Obviously, Fleming perhaps a little bit different, but he is the talisman. And I think dropping him in a game like today was the wrong move. We'd been hearing was, head turned with the transfers, and he's not right, and it's put him off, and we want him to be here past the transfer window. I know we've played Birmingham after the window had shut, but he'd had 2 weeks of you're going to be here until January at least. Get your head right, get in the game, and to not pick him me, it wasn't the right move. I've also just on the comment on the screen is a good friend of mine, Tom. He's actually a Norwich fan. He's the lad I travelled to Norwich with, so he's probably gloating at the moment because they're doing very well. But this is obviously a non-Millwall fan here. Feels like Millwall have no fight. Even if you're not winning, I'd at least expect you to battle, and it feels like you're not doing that. And the worrying thing with that is that that's coming from someone who's not a Millwall fan. Everybody can see it. This is not the Millwall way. This is not how our reputation and what we expect from fans. And if other fans can see it, I'm sure other managers can as well, and players.
Well, we're become, particularly at home, we're becoming a bit of a soft touch at home. It's 4 wins in our last 15 competitive games at the Den, going back to the Sunderland game at the start of February. Looking at the wider form from that, if you take from the March international break, so from the Huddersfield home game, it's 4 wins in 16 competitive games. Whichever way you look at that is sackable. That is sackable offence to me. And his record is now somewhat similar to the final few games of the kind of Neil Harris tenure at Millwall. So he's had that's the thing. He's had 4 years, and this isn't a chance. This isn't me coming on here and completely slandering Gary Rowett. I put it out on Twitter X earlier. I think Rowett's done a good job for the club. When he came in, we were as a team that was typically in the Championship always looking over our shoulder. He's changed us now to a team that's a comfortable mid-table outfit up until now. Who are always, trying to make that next step into the playoffs without having that big money to try and do it. I just think Rowett's ran out of road now, to be completely honest, and I feel like it's in danger of going very stale very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, go on, Joe. No, go on.
No, I'm just saying the thing is he's got a decent enough squad, I think, to tinker with and use. But again, that's my point earlier. He's not using the players to their strengths, is he? I don't think even he fucking knows what he wants to do, how he wants to play. You know, you've got to have a philosophy, you've got to have a gameplay, you've got to have an idea how you want to set your team up to play. You know, and if you're going to set back and be defensive and catch teams on the break, then why don't you fucking sign fast, pacey forwards?
Exactly like they had. Obviously, I know the budget is obviously a little bit kind of different. But
yeah, I'm not saying you've got to get players of that ability, but even just someone who's quick. I mean, they might fucking miss 2 chances, out of 3, whatever. But what I'm saying is you've got to have the players that's going to fit the system. You can't be defensive, try and hit teams on the break, but don't have any pace up front at all, you know. And you can see players like Mmaku probably thinking, what more do I have to fucking do to get into this team? I mean, as much as I love Bradshaw, and he fucking runs his tits off every game when you see him playing, yeah? And Nisbet is quality. You can see he's a quality player. But if you're playing this system again, and you've got no ball carriers, you've got no one linking midfield, to attack, you need pace. If you're going to play as a direct counter-attack inside, you need pace up front. You know, fucking play a Mmaku up front alongside Nisbet or Bradshaw, you know, or what more. So you can't just fucking play the players in a system that doesn't suit them. You know, I really don't get that.
I agree. I've just been texted separately, and there's a comment up on the screen by Ben asking for a little shout out. Hello, Ben. Hope you're well. For the benefit of the viewers at home, Ben's actually in bed already, so he's had a few shandies and he's struggling a little bit. So yeah, he couldn't
see him
join
at West
us.
Brom next week.
We'll see him at West Brom next week. And but yeah, Joe, I completely agree. And I mean, I'm gonna try and do my best to keep up with the comments. There's loads, and a lot of it's about Rowett. And
can I come in quickly, Stephen?
Yeah, absolutely.
It is very quickly again going back to the Zian Fleming topic, but he had the question put to him, why didn't Zian Fleming start the game today? And Rowett said it was tactical. And then I've kept reading at the bottom, there was a line from him saying 10 games into the season last season, Bradshaw and Zian only had 1 goal between them. Well, the reason for that, Mr. Rowett, I can tell you now, is because you played a back 5 for most of them first 10 games last season. Now, have you learned from your lessons? Because if you have, then let's see something different next game, please, because what we've seen so far this season isn't working. And, you know, as we've already discussed, a game with defensive depth, we are, a Ryan Leonard pulled hamstring away from having 3 centre-halves yet again. Play a system with 3 defenders.
At the moment, that's concerning, because I think our best player so far this season, without a shadow of a doubt, is Ryan Leonard.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been fantastic every single game this season, but we know he's probably 1 or 2 games away from an injury, and that's it. I mean, we've lost Hutch. There's a few other players out injured at the moment, but if he goes, we're in shit street there, because we've got no one really to come in and cover for him, apart from what's his face, Wes Harding, maybe. I don't know who fit in there at right centre half, but it's a problem, and I think I'm not a manager, but we all watch football. We understand football. We understand about systems, formations, whatever. You've got to play a formation that's going to suit the players, and I think you've got to have a Fleming in there or an Essay or someone just to kind of create things and do things. We've got nothing in midfield that's going to do it. Saville, by his own admission, he says it himself. Technically he's not the best, but he gets stuck in. He works hard, gets around the pitch. Mitchell's game is very, very similar. Denore, as good as he's been, not creative enough for me. Campbell, what is he? A ball winner. Tell me which midfielder we got that's creative, is going to make things happen, create moves, put passes through balls and make things happen. We haven't got that kind of players. So you've got to play a system that's going to allow the attacking areas to be effective. But today, he literally fucking ripped all that out and said, we're going to go with 3 across the midfield, all defensive-minded midfielders, and you 2 up front, well, you just fucking get on with it, and you make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, Okay, it's really difficult because a lot of the things we're talking about is based on the game today. But if we look at it as a whole, starting from 11 o'clock, as Dan said, team sheet come out. I think there was a lot of people that were surprised the way that we lined up. I actually, myself, I went into the game. I'll put a message in the chat to obviously the podcast boys and the people that sit around me. That I felt really confident going into the game today. I really thought we were going to get the game that we should have got for John Berylson. I thought we were going to get it today rather than what we obviously got served up against Bristol City.
I think, sorry to interrupt you there, Steve. Yeah. I think Dan mentioned it earlier there was a massive gap between our midfield line and our attacking line. There's just nothing happening there whatsoever.
Yeah.
So right from the off, we were relying on just pumping balls in the box to no effect. Let's be honest. Yes, we pegged them in for the first 5-10 minutes, but we did do nothing in their penalty area. We didn't have the aerial height or the presence up front to kind of cause many problems. They just dealt with it every single time, But the key thing for me was at 1-0 down, you're still in the game. If you're going to take one of those midfielders off and you replace it with an attacking player, I get that. You don't take two of them off, leave Billy Mitchell fucking on his own, and then have everyone just charge forward. Because as soon as they counter-attacked twice, they counter-attacked after that, and they were through on goal. Billy Mitchell, at one point, from their corner, was the only player that got back for the last one, and he lost his feet. He couldn't cut out the pass, could he? And then their strikers, Piero, I think his name is, end up scoring a fairly easy goal. But what I'm saying is you're exposing yourself in a situation that didn't need to happen. 65 minutes, you're still in the game, you're 1-0 down. You just tweak it slightly. You don't fucking throw the kitchen sink at that moment. I just don't get where he's coming from. It's just stupid, amateurish tactics,
Sorry, Ben's just put some more comments on there. I'm getting to, and he's texting me at the same time. So Ben, I will get to your comments. Joe, to be honest with you, I think what I was saying is I was positive before the team come out. The team come out, and I knew before a ball had been kicked, I knew exactly what Gary Rowett was planning. He was planning for us to stay in the game.
Yeah.
Now, and maybe nick a set piece goal.
Yeah, and now I understand why you would perhaps, they are a team that have come down from the Premier League. You're not going to go gung ho, and I can accept that. That's absolutely fine. But when you line up with zero creativity in your midfield, and let's be honest, and this a player that we'll come back onto, but Ryan Longman hasn't come in with glowing endorsements, has he? It's not like he's come in and everyone thinks he's going to be a world beater. Norton Cuffy's been okay, but again, he's not. He needs to add numbers to his game at wing back. But it would be the same if it was Danny McNamara. The wing backs need to be providing creativity, but they're not really doing that. So from the goalkeeper to the middle of the park, we have no creativity. We've got nobody that can really create anything. No. Let's be honest, or in that lineup today, and it just knocked the utter stuffing out of us. And we started quite well. We did start quite well. We started on the front foot, and it was a little bit surprising. But there was one moment you've both touched on it. Ball was not long, and I think we won a throw in. And from Bradshaw and Nisbet, there wasn't a single blue shirt within 50 yards of the two of them, and that is unacceptable. It's just unacceptable because you've got no chance. You've got no chance. And again, going back to the Fleming piece, if you're going to drop Fleming, fine. I get it. He's not been great, but you don't drop an attacking midfielder for a defensive midfielder. No. You just don't do it.
Or two in this case, because like I said, you're playing so much defensive midfielders. And no attacking outfield at all. Honestly, I know you two don't feel that Fleming should have been dropped today. Because of the occasion, it's been a big game. But I think he needs to be dropped. He hasn't performed well at all. And I would rather drop him, start with Esse in that number 10 role, and give Esse a start in the 10 role, see what you can do, But to go fucking so defensive-minded and then talk about wanting to be attack-minded and how we should go for it, he's contradicting himself from his starting 11, isn't he?
I agree, and I think just looking at that comment there from Barry, he set up to bully their midfield. We ended up getting bullied ourselves. That sums up the game today.
Exactly.
We had a game plan, and look, people will say there was a foul in the build up to the first goal. It wasn't given. It wasn't given. You just get on with it. They scored a good team goal, fine, 1-0. And perhaps that kind of changed a little bit of the momentum of the game.
Can I make a point as well, Steve? I know in the past we've all mentioned, talked about, has he lost the dressing room? Are the players playing for each other? They're playing for him, etc. There was one incident today, if you saw it. Now, I can't remember which player it was, but someone went for a 50-50 with the keeper. It might have been Leonard, not quite sure it wasn't actually, but he caught the keeper a bit late.
Yeah, he did. It was Leonard.
That was Leonard.
Who was it? It was Leonard. All the Leeds players rushed over to protect their goalkeeper. Not one fucking. I think there was only one Millwall player.
I think it was Nisbet. Nisbet was in there with him, and that was it.
I think it might be Nisbet went in there to try and help his teammate out and fight for it. All the other Millwall fuckers just turned around, and walked off. There's no fight. There's no togetherness there whatsoever. Previous Millwall sides in the past may not have been technically good, but they've won games with heart, with passion, playing for each other. When I look at them a lot of players today, or what we have recently, there's no togetherness, there's no fight, there's no cohesiveness between them. They're not playing for the show or playing for each other. You can just see in their own demeanour the way that they are. Now we're talking in the chat here. Let's get rid of Gary Rowett. The question is, who can you bring in? There's no one. I don't think we're going to come in and make a real difference unless we go abroad and get a foreign manager, a bit of an unknown manager, going to come in there and make a difference and play a continental style of football that might suit our players better. Who knows? Get the best out of them. We have got the players that can play that kind of football with the ball on the ground. They're good enough. The other alternative is you bring in a Steve Morrison, okay, which everyone say, oh yeah, give Steve Morrison a job. He gets us. He's Millwall. Yeah, I get all that. But what the fuck's he going to do with our crop of players? He's going to go 4-4-2, go long ball. We ain't got the players to play 4-4-2. We haven't got wingers. We haven't got a tall target man. So what the fuck is Steve Morrison going to do? And it'll be funny, how is Steve Morrison tactically a better manager and a better coach than Gary Rowett? I'm not saying Gary Rowett is any good, but what I'm saying is, how can you bring in somebody who's a direct 4-4-2 type player manager that's going to make a difference in our team? It ain't going to happen. We've got to bring a manager in that's going to deal with our players if it ain't Rowett, and get the best out of our players and a system that works with our players. But my gut feel is that it won't work.
From what I've seen from Morrison, his Cardiff team, and obviously he wasn't there for very long, and it didn't go well. But the fans really, enjoyed getting behind his team and his style of football. Quite frankly, at this point, I just want to see something a bit more entertaining. On the manager names, I put it out there earlier today. I would love to see Kevin Muscat.
I'd be up for that. I'd be up for Muscat.
The things that tick a lot of boxes for me is that obviously he knows the club, which is something that's quite important because we possibly losing our identity a little bit maybe. But other things that kind of tick the box for me is that he's worked with Ange Postecoglou before as his assistant in multiple places and ended up taking over from Ange at many different clubs. He's currently employed at a team in Japan. Well, I don't know if anyone paid much attention to Scottish football when Ange Postecoglou came into Celtic, but he bought quite a few players over with him for pretty reasonable fees, and they've absolutely torn up the Scottish League. So maybe as that kind of scouting experience, and again, look at the way Ange has brought Tottenham together. I'm not saying he's going to be exactly the same as Ange Postecoglou, but I certainly feel like he should be very high up on the list of targets. If the club wants someone with championship experience, I wouldn't mind Chris Wilder, but I can understand why people would be saying let's not go for Chris Wilder. But I don't think it would be a terrible appointment, nor do I think Darren Moore again would be a terrible appointment. But I feel like my choice, if we have money to go and get a manager out their contract reasonably, would be Kevin Muscat.
Yeah, I agree. Ben, I'm going to, in the comments there, I'm going to come back to the midfielders because we're going to do a little bit on that. But I'm going to come to a point. This is an interesting a name that I've not seen many people mention here. But John, Ryan Mason, hungry young wannabe manager, would be a very good replacement.
I love Ryan Mason. Whether or not he'll come to us or not is another story. But again, that type of manager, young, creative, attack-minded, that's going to play some decent football, that can suit our players. We've got some talented players in our squad. Esse, Fleming, all these players need to be played and played in the right system, the right formation is going to suit them, And someone like Steve Morrison isn't the answer. I'm sorry to say it, but we do need someone to come in there a little bit more creative, a bit more attack-minded. And the trouble is as well, is our defenders are not suited for that kind of attack-minded football anyway. Yeah, our defenders are suited for a defensive style of football. We've got no pace, no agility, no movement in the back there. We can't play the ball out from the back either, So whoever comes in is always got to kind of see us out to the end of the season and then do another rebuilding program with the, when the money's there at the end of the year. I don't think it'll be there in January now because we spent quite a bit of it. But it'll be a case of having to rebuild, the squad slot, but more so defensively with more ball-playing defenders. We haven't got that at the moment.
No, and another point I'm going to come on to, Kenny. Before we say start a Maku, no-brainer. Now, I just want to put something to you guys, and obviously, guys in the comments. There's so many coming through. We really appreciate them, and I'm trying to rattle through them as quickly as possible to get through as many as I can. But with a Maku, went to the Ireland under-21 squad. I don't think it was the first time he'd been called up. I think it was the second time. But he got the call again. He come on and scored the winner in one of the games. Late goal, 3-2. It was a good finish. Right place, right time, nice tidy finish. That boy must have been on cloud nine. He scored his first goal for the under-21s. Absolutely buzzing, confident. He's had good reviews. He had a good pre-season. Can someone explain to me why in God's earth he was brought in to play this afternoon at left wing back?
That was it went in that kind of crazy kind of substitution bracket that
this is
made.
Weird for Rowett. It can't be funny. You got Malachi on the bench, didn't you?
And Brian was on the bench today as well. The only reason
no, I don't think he was.
He not? I thought he was. My bad. Okay.
But Malachi comes. You want a wing back? You put Malachi in.
We've been saying this now since Brian missed that first.
Exactly.
Game. It's ridiculous. What is the plan with Adam Malachi?
What's he done? He's gone fucking with Norton Cuffy on the right wing back, which is fine. Attack mind, and I'll get back to Norton Cuffy later about him. Actually, I've got someone mention about him. You then got a Maku as a left fucking wing back, who's really a sort of striker. I would say more than anything else. Yeah. And you've got all these attack sort of players. There's no fucking build up whatsoever, is there? It's just ridiculous. I reckon something's like happened to Rowett. Either he's fucking doing his best to get sacked at the moment, or he's I don't know, he took a fucking whack to the head this morning when he woke up or something, because it's just not. It's so unlike Rowett the way he behaved with those. What do you boys think with the randomness of the team selection today and kind of the randomness of the substitutions as well? Does it kind of feel a bit like the end days of Harris towards the end of his time? He put out a couple of kind of random big change questionable teams. Holloway did it every week. He seemed to sign a player on an emergency loan every week, so we didn't win a game. Does it feel like that to you two boys, where he's just starting to make changes, seeing what might work because he's kind of run out of ideas a little bit?
I personally think, and I think Gary Rowett is scared to lose football matches. I think he's scared to lose football matches because he knows that the outcome and he knows what's going to happen with the crowd. The problem is that's all well and good, and he's feeling the pressure, but there's going for it and there's being stupid. He could have, for me, I think you could have gone to a back four and you could have shifted the team up the field and you could have changed your formation that way. You didn't have to go with bringing off all the midfielders and leaving Billy Mitchell on his own. You didn't have to have a Mako at left wing back. There's ways of going for it without basically being suicidal.
Which is what he did.
Yeah, which is what he did. And I just think at the moment, I think he's under massive pressure. Obviously, he is from the fans, but I think there's more to it behind the scenes, because the way that he's talking, the comments that he's made previously about being away from his family, he doesn't have the backing of John Berylson. It's now James Berylson. It's a different person that's in charge. And I honestly think there's a little bit more pressure to him. And I think today it absolutely got to him and he completely lost his head.
Mm-hmm. It just seems really strange to me. Really does. Because I said, at 1-0 down, you're still in the game. But when you make those substitutions and you concede, a character, you can see the gaping hole in our midfield where they just fucking ran through and they score that second goal. They're queuing up to score. And then the third goal goes in exactly the same sort of way. And you look at Rowett and he fucking turns around and walks in his dugout and sits down for the rest of the fucking game. I mean, I left on about 82nd minute, which is unheard of. I don't like leaving games, even when we're losing. But I just thought, you know what? I couldn't stand sitting there watching fucking Leeds jump up and down and being fucking bunch of, twats up there. Understandably, and we'll probably be the same way. We were away at Leeds, winning 3-0. But I couldn't bear to watch it anymore. And I had to literally get up and just fucking walk out. I thought, fuck this. But he's hiding in his fucking dugout, for that sort of period there.
He always does it. He always sends Adam Barrett out the front. Like, why do it?
Yeah, you need to be fucking out there, shouting to the team, galvanising your troops, getting the boys playing. He wasn't fucking doing any of that. That Daniel Farker, the Farker guy, was out there the whole fucking game almost. He went like 2, 3. He's still fucking standing out there, barking instructions and throwing his hands around and stuff like that.
Sorry, that comment that's just come up there. Regardless of who comes in, this is from Alan. They need a proper scout. I'm not that clown of an MVQ journalist of a scout. And this is the thing, isn't it? I know we all laugh and joke about it, but there's something fundamentally wrong at Millwall at the moment, and it's from the pitch to the coaches to the recruitment. Something isn't right because. In most jobs, I get that a professional football isn't the same as other industries and other sports. I understand that. But in most jobs, you have your boss, you have your governor, but they have people around them. They have a support team around them that help them with decisions that might give them ideas. Why would the same coaching staff or recruitment team not say, look, we went down this route last year, didn't quite work. Why is someone not saying, or why are we doing it again?
Because Rowett probably likes yes men around him, doesn't want anyone going to challenge him too hard, and he wants to do things
possibly, yeah.
He seems like a very, very stubborn guy. We learned that over the years and what he's like, how he's towards the fans and not sort of want to change systems, formations or whatever. And that's probably what it is. They're probably either too scared to say anything or they just say, yes, boss, no, whatever you want. He does it his way, But like I said, I've never really been a Rowett out sort of person. I kind of appreciate or understand what he's trying to do and what he's been doing for us really well in a very, very sort of low budget over the years. However, it's got to the point now where he's ripping the soul out of the club a little bit, isn't he? The atmosphere was there today. Like fucking hell, like we got behind, even 1-0 down. Like the Mill fans were there. They're pushing the players and doing everything we can, trying to create an atmosphere, with the old monk chart and whatever. But the players don't respond to it. There was a time when you're a Millwall fan going to watch a Millwall game and you're chanting, you're singing, you're giving it everything, and you did feel like you're a 12th man, and it did make a difference, and you did get the players, battling and fighting, and beating the so-called bigger, better teams. Whereas now, there's just no fucking fight there whatsoever.
We used to thrive in games like this, playing against bigger teams. Well,
exactly.
Teams with bigger budgets coming down with their expensive players. And today we just kind of rolled over. It's completely the opposite to what I've been used to seeing in games like this.
Absolutely. I think the players have got to take the blame as well. I mean, everyone's very quick to point the finger at Rowett, and we're all doing that. I'm doing that at the moment. But I think the players have got to take ownership as well. It'll be funny, but if you're fucking Zian Fleming, you've been dropped for a massive fucking game against Leeds, one of the biggest games of the season at home at the Den. You get an opportunity to come on to show what you can do for half an hour. You will fucking run through walls and you'll do whatever you can to make a difference, to show your manager and the fans why you should be playing. But I think he sort of touched the ball, 3 or 4 times, if that.
We struggled to get him into the game.
What did he do? Yeah, that's fine, but he's got to get himself in the game. He's got to find a way.
I do hear that, but
there's no aggression from him. There's no right. I'm going to fucking take the game for the scruff of the neck here. I'm going to show you why I should be playing. There's no kind of wake up call there whatsoever. Nothing whatsoever. There's nothing in his performance in that half an hour. I don't give a fuck who it's against, whether it's Leeds or anyone else. There's nothing on there that says, you know what, Zian, you're absolutely right, mate. You should be starting. I'll fucking drop him again next game. I think Esse did more than Zian did, although he didn't do much, but at least he fucking tried to get on the ball and try and make a few things happen. Yeah, and I'm a fucking Zian Fleming fan. Look, I've got his fucking shirt behind me. The cunt's fucking embarrassing me now, isn't he? I feel like fucking taking that fucker off and putting Marhofer up there or something instead. At least he fucking tried.
We won't tell you that Vogelsammer scored today as well, then, Joe.
Yeah,
I'll fucking take Vogelsammer back at the moment. At least Vogelsammer fucking tried, honestly. And I hated that fucker.
Someone clip that. We'll get the time of this stream. No. But I think where we're coming from, and I think Joe is basically in a position that I think the majority of us Millwall fans are in at the moment. It's frustrating. It's not good enough, and we're not expecting us to win the league. We're not expecting us to blow teams away. That's not what we're expecting. No. But we have on paper a good squad. I wouldn't say a great squad, but we have a good squad. And what we're getting served up is just not. It's not acceptable. It hasn't been acceptable for a while. People talk about last season. I don't quite buy into that. It's a whole different scenario. You're at the back end of the season, the pressure, going for the playoffs. Yeah, okay. The form books don't lie, and it's not been good, including that spell.
Yeah,
but
you can't escape. That's 4 wins in 16.
It's I understand that, but I'm just purely and based on this season, we've played. I believe it's 6 games in the league. Is it? Yeah. I think it's 6 in the league and 1 game in the cup. We have scored 4 goals in the league and cup in 7 games.
There you go.
And I don't even know how many we've conceded. We've conceded more than 3 times, I think.
Already, which has been unheard of in a Gary Rowett era.
Yeah. And it's just not good enough. And unfortunately, the fans' frustration and the way that football works is that it's the manager. The manager the manager is held accountable. That's how it is. I do agree that the players and certain players are not doing enough. Zian Fleming is not doing enough in a Millwall shirt, and that's how it is.
But that's down to the manager, isn't it? That's the manager's got to get the best out of the players. And not be funny, but people make comparisons between Gary Rowett's team and Neil Harris's team. And Gary Rowett was a manager, Neil Harris is manager. Gary Rowett's style of football compared to Neil Harris's, what works best? And they always say, oh, well, it's clear that Rowett is better because, Harris was struggling towards the end and we were, fighting relegation, and then Rowett come in and fucking turn it around. What you got to remember is how much money did Harris have to spend on players compared to what Rowett's been spending the last few years? If Harris had a budget and could spend £4 or £5 million on players like Rowett has, I'm sure he could have done better. But he had a very, very fucking weak squad to play with at the time, Harris.
No, I agree. And Ben, I'm sorry to interrupt you, Joe. Ben,
fuck off.
The link to join. The link to join. He wants to join. The link to join is in the chat. So if you go onto it, I'll add you in, and you don't have to show your face. Again, he's been on the Shandies. So yeah, I think you're right, Joe, in the sense that that the comparisons with Harris and Rowett. Harris was a negative manager, but he was a negative manager in the sense of he always labelled us as the underdog. I don't think he was a negative manager with his football, but he just constantly saw us. Oh, we're small fish and this, that, and the other. But he was right in the sense of that at that time that's how we perceived ourselves. But Rowett has come in and demanded. He's obviously demanded more money. He wasn't prepared to go down the Harris route. Had Harris had been braver and had the budget, it would be interesting to see. I don't think you'll ever know. When we first come back up to the Championship, it was a different league than what it is now, and there's more money and bigger players and more transfer fees and stuff. But it's very, very interesting that the comparisons that are made, because you're right. Neil Harris would not have sent his a Millwall team out to play against Leeds at the Den anywhere near like what we were set up today.
With Harris, and again, I'm not saying Harris the answer. I agree with what Baz is saying, But the difference is Harris will set his team up in a way to say, you know what? There's a message to the other team. You worry about us. We're not going to worry about you. We're going to play our game. We're going to do our thing, and you got to deal with it. We don't give a fuck what you're going to throw at us. We're going to play this way. Rowett, and you can quite clearly see what happened today. He sets his team up straight away defensively against the team we're playing against. Yeah, every time he sets up, you can see the players. They've all got their jobs to do. They're all checking for their mans that they're marking. You know, from their goal kick, we've got our three midfielders sitting so deep, marking their players. So they've all got the jobs to do. All he cares about is defensively, and we know that. We've said it for ages now, haven't we? Whereas Harris was a different approach. He was more front foot. You know, we're going to take it to you. We're going to go attacking. If we concede, we can concede. We're going to. You score one, we score two. You know, that sort of mentality a little bit. You know. Again, I'm not saying that Harris is the answer. I'm not saying Steve Morris is the answer, but something has to change. You know, you look at what's happened with Rowett with his Stoke days. You hear about, you know, other fans talk about him having budgets, bigger budgets than they ever had before, and spending loads of money and getting it fucking wrong, and causing problems for their clubs.
I'm just going to come on to another point, Dan. I'm going to come to you in a second, but this from Craig here. Anyone remember when we lost to Birmingham years ago, where we had 2 players sent off? Team weren't booed off because of the manner of display, the manner of the performances are below par. I do remember that game, and
did we lose 6-0?
I think it was 6-0 or 6-1. One of the two. Yeah.
My main memory from that game is Alan Dunn absolutely obliterating that 6'8" striker they had. I can't remember his name. Yeah, that was it. I remember reading about that in Dunny's book as well. That was a great memory from that game at least.
It was, and just on that point, Craig, and I'm sure the other listeners and you guys will agree with this. That's correct. Performances. We have seen in a game. Sean Williams a few years ago got sent off against Wolves when he hacked a bloke that was running in on goal. We drew the game and he got a round of applause because he knew that he had to take one for the team. We're not expecting world beaters every week. We expect 110% from every player in a blue shirt. If we don't get it, then they know about it. But unfortunately, we're not getting 110% from the majority of the players. It doesn't look like we're getting 110% from the manager. And unfortunately, we're not getting a performance like when we were down to 9 men against Birmingham and appreciating the players, because quite frankly, they're not really deserving of it. Before we continue, I am just about to add Ben into.
Brace yourself.
That was a quick flash of his.
Jesus.
Ben, can you hear us?
Evening, fellas. How are we doing?
All the better for hearing you, mate. All the better for hearing you.
Mate, I'm not going to West Brom next weekend just because I've got to go with you.
Ben, give your thoughts on today's game.
Lads, do you know what? I'm gutted because we've lost to them cunts. I apologise for swearing, but it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad where I feel like we've all overreacted today. Like it wasn't that bad. They've had 3 chances and scored with their 3 clear-cut opportunities. We had opportunities, but we just didn't score. I don't know if I'm just being drunk and being optimistic, but it wasn't that bad. Was it that bad?
I'll be honest with you.
We have.
I'll be honest with you. Let's to be fair.
Right, no, Joe. What I will say, we didn't have that many, but they had a couple, and they've scored 3.
Was that because they weren't that great? Let's be honest. As good as Leeds are, with some fantastic players and some pace up front, they set up to counterattack us.
100%. But we've also they had a £45 million striker plan centre forward.
I mean, I haven't seen the stats yet, Ben, but I'm pretty sure we had more possession, which is fucking weird against a team to come down from the Premier League.
I'm checking that now.
But I'm pretty sure we had more. We had pretty edged it on possession. We could be wrong, but I'm guessing we did. But they didn't do nothing really, Ben, when you think about it, except for counter-attack. They had 3 counter-attacks.
And scored 3 times.
Scored from them. And that's what they're relying on. They set up. very, very well. They used their strength and their pace up front, and they hurt us. But what I make is we didn't play great, but I don't think
it wasn't what I will say, Joe. It wasn't a Millwall Leeds game. I think we can all agree with that. My experiences of Millwall Leeds game is we make it tough, we get in their faces, and it's just all passion, it wasn't a Millwall type performance for a Millwall Leeds game.
Can I just say as well, shout out to the ref. I don't know how he managed to not give a card at all.
I know, unreal.
That was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Ryan Leonard made 17 fouls and he didn't get booked.
All on Nonto as well, which was brilliant to see him rolling around on the floor.
What I will say, and in Ben's defence, and I haven't been drinking, so I'm the sober one with this opinion. I don't think today was as bad as what people are making it out to be. However, it wasn't good enough.
Stephen, that is exactly my point. As a Millwall fan, right, we've all experienced Millwall Leeds games and we know what they are. It's all passion, all thunder, on the front foot. We get in their faces. With a smaller club, we just make it hard for them. And it wasn't that. But it wasn't as bad as a 3-0 defeat. That's kind of my point. It wasn't a Millwall performance that we all expect, but it wasn't a 3-0 defeat that it's going to say tomorrow, tonight, whatever it is. It wasn't that bad. But my disappointment is it wasn't what it used to be. And I think that's what we're all getting. That's what we're all getting at, right? We're all going.
You know what?
It's not what we used to.
Ben, if Rowett did make that fucking ridiculous substitution on 65 minutes, right, and we kind of rode like a little bit, and we saw the game out, and we ended up losing 1-0, and we battled and we did all right. Everyone will be saying, you know what? What can you do? It's against Leeds, 1-0. Okay, ain't the end of the world, ain't a terrible result, and blah 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 blah. But you're right. I think the scoreline makes it seem like they battered us, and they didn't. They didn't really. We gave them those 2 goals, the second and the third goal, really. But the point is, we didn't do nothing on the ball creative wise. We had no game plan, did we, Ben?
No, mate. I think that's my point, right? As I say, like we've all come to know Millwall Leeds games where we put it on them. We're aggressive. We're in their face. We're on the front foot, and it wasn't that today, right?
No.
Whereas 3-0 is a half scoreline, but it was never like, it was 3-0, but we could have won 4-3. It was 3-0, but we might have won 1-0. I think that's the difference, right? When we think about, again, like me and you, Steve, we talk about those Leeds games that we're familiar with, like with the Harris teams, where it was like we were in their face, we got at them, we made it difficult. It wasn't difficult for Leeds today. It was almost like if they rode the storm for the first 15 minutes, which they did, it was like they're always gonna score because they've got the quality to do it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I mean, one thing I'm gonna move on to, and we've got 4 of us now to discuss it. The comment that's on the screen from Bobby: why take Nisbet off? Now, I agree. I think Nisbet should have stayed on the pitch. I think Bradshaw is a trier, and he will run and run and run. But I think he'd run his race at the point. I think he should have been taken off, and I think Amaku perhaps put up front with him. But the point I want to come on to with in regards to Nisbet and Bradshaw is Gary Rowett clearly doesn't want to play over 2. I don't think he really wants to do it. But I don't think he has much choice. Nisbet's his sign. He paid over £1 million for him. He chased him in January. He finally got him over the line. He obviously wants him in his team. But Tom Bradshaw scored 17 goals last year, and he's probably finding it very difficult to not pick him, because why would you not? He was top goal scorer from last year. You'd think you would give him an opportunity in the team. As a pairing, I was calling for it to try a 2 up front, and what I've seen, they do not really complement each other that well. It doesn't really work, and we're going to have to make a decision, or say Rowett, or if he goes on another manager, is going to have to make a decision. What route are we going to go down? Are we going to go down the route that we bought in a striker from Scotland? We paid 1.2 or whatever it is for him. He is the man that Rowett wants. He is Rowett's signing, not Bradshaw was signed by Harris, because this 2 up front, it just doesn't work.
See,
I really want to get involved with this because I'm super passionate about the Bradshaw thing. And no, honestly, lads, you laugh. And Joe, I know you're super keen on Nisbet, and I get it. Nisbet's a good player, but if I'm Bradshaw, it's his best season at any club that he's ever had last year, and you've signed another centre forward to come in front of him. I just don't. Bradshaw was our best player today. I don't. If I'm him, I'd be absolutely gutted not starting every game. We have to find a way for them two to work. That's just my opinion.
But
have
I
to
guess,
find a way.
But Dan, Ben, sorry, what Stephen's saying is that where they're not too dissimilar, Bradshaw and Nisbet, it's clearly not working. Normally, you've got two strikers up front.
But Joe, is it not working, or is it just because we're not at it? I don't think it's not working.
I think it's not working in a sense that they don't complement each other. I think if you're playing 4-4-2, whatever. I mean, if you're playing two forwards, you've got one of them is a tall target man. It's going to win headers, hold the ball up, bring other players into the team. Where the other one's running around, a bit like how. And I hate to sort of talk about old football, but look at Harris and Sadley or Harris and Moody or whatever. That works, yeah.
Yeah, you've got a big man, and a small man.
Yeah, or you can have an all-round forward like a Nisbet, let's say, that can hold the ball up and do a bit on the challenge. But you have a pacey forward, someone who plays on the shoulder, someone who's got lightning pace that's going to get behind the defensive line and give defenders something to worry about. I mean, today a few times. I saw a Leeds defensive line push so high up the pitch at the halfway line because they wasn't scared about our pace on the break.
The issue I've got, Joe, is like you've got Nisbet who can do that, like push defences back. But then when you've got an opportunity in the second half, early in the second half, what Brad has had, I didn't want that to be Brad. I wanted that to be Nisbet, right?
And
if that was Nisbet, I had more confidence in him stroking that. We all look at the Leeds forward, Pirro. He had one opportunity, just side footed it. It was confident, it was caressed, and I was like, when it got rolled in from Denor into Bradders, I was like, there's no way he's scoring that. He's going to thrash at it, and that's exactly what he did. But if that was Nisbet, I kind of went, well, he might have scored. And I think it's such a. It's a bit of a catch-22, I think, because
the thing is, Ben. Sorry to interrupt there, mate. I can see why Rowett's brought Nisbet in. As much as Bradshaw done fantastic well last season, scoring 17 goals, we needed strength and depth in attacking areas. We didn't have enough, especially getting rid of Vogelslammer now as well. Nisbet is a better version of Bradshaw. I don't care what anyone says.
Bogey scored a hat-trick today.
So who's that?
Bogey scored a hat trick today.
Cool. Don't wind me up. So anyway, so Nisbet is a better version of Bradshaw. I don't care what anyone says. Okay, he's a better player. He's a better finisher. I think he's a better all-round player. So I can see what Rowett's doing. He's trying to bring in a better player. But for me, and I said this at one of our very, very earliest shows this season. I don't know if you remember, but I was one saying play Mmaku and Nisbet up front together because you've got some pace. You've got a bit of diversity up front. You've got the pace, you've got someone who can hold the ball up, you've got a finisher. That's going to trouble defenders more than having two
very similar players. I 100% agree with that. I think Nisbet and Bradshaw are too similar.
The thing is, and Dan, I'll come to you as I feel like you're chomping at the bit at the minute to get involved here. And the comments, John, Melvin, Speed Demon, Baz, have all made comments. I've got one up on the screen here. It would work if we played the ball into feet. We've had Bradshaw would be totally out of the picture if Moore had signed. It doesn't work because all we do is hoof the ball up to them. And there was a comment here, 70% of the earth is covered by water, the rest is covered by Bradders, the man grass. And I understand that. But the thing is, Dan, in this squad, with this bunch of players, I don't care who the manager is. It can be, well, obviously within reason. If you've got Pep, it might be a little bit different. But with any manager that's managing in the Championship that looks at this squad or is potentially going to come in, we have, in my opinion, probably one winger. One out-and-out winger, and that's Mmaku. I know that people will say, Honeyman could play out there, Watmore could play out there, Esse could play out there, but one out-and-out winger I think who could probably play out there regularly is Mmaku. So the squad is built for wing backs, and it's built for holding the ball in midfield, like similar to what we tried to play today. This squad, this team, the two of them don't work, in my opinion. Dan, which one do you go with?
Which one do that's the $1 million question, isn't it? You know, at this point, unfortunately, Bradshaw hasn't scored yet. You know, and ultimately, strikers. You know, the comments there say, you know, Bradshaw grafts, he works hard, but ultimately, strikers are judged on goals.
Dan, he hasn't played, mate. He hasn't played.
He's played the last few, mate. Strikers are judged on goals, though. This is ultimately what you're talking about.
I can't. What's he played this season? He hasn't played anywhere near the minutes that Nisbet's played, and we're digging Bradders out for not scoring. I can't have that.
I don't necessarily think it's digging out Bradshaw for not scoring. No, I'm not digging out
Bradshaw at all. You know, the bloke runs his bollocks off. He's brilliant for us, but you know.
But even last season, you know, he scored a lot of goals for us, but he did miss quite a few chances as well. So what I'm saying is, I think Nisbet is a better finisher. Put him in the positions that Bradshaw.
Well, Joe, that's exactly what I'm just saying, right? If that chance in the second half early on falls to Nisbet rather than Bradders, I'm more than confident he probably scores. But Nisbet didn't do what Bradders did in terms of harrying the chasing down. So it's like we can't moan about like Millwall type players and then moan about Bradders not scoring when Nisbet didn't run, didn't harry, didn't really get in the game today. But say, but if he got that chance, he would have scored. Right?
But Nisbet is technically a better player. If you give him all the game time that
but he didn't get that last season. That's my point.
Then, if you gave Nisbet all the game time that Bradshaw had last season and all the chances that Bradshaw had last season, I guarantee you that Nisbet would probably have scored 22 goals last season. He would have scored more than Bradshaw would have.
But I will defend Bradders till the hilt because
don't get wrong, you can't knock him. He works very, very hard. But you said yourself, the chances he has, you don't feel
100%. That chance there, as I say, in the second half, if it fell.
What are you going to have? Are you going to have a quality forward, a striker that's going to score goals and do their job, or do you want a player just going to run around?
No, Joe, but that's not my point. But what I'm trying to get is, so that chance in the second half, if it fell to Nisbet, would Nisbet have done better? Probably. But Nisbet wasn't in the game for the other 80 minutes where Bradders harried, got us in the game, got us aggressive, like chased them down. So it's a bit of a catch-22, right? We can't.
I mean, he presses, but very rarely do we get anything from it. I mean, other than hurrying their defenders and
just before we carry on, I think we're just about to be joined by our esteemed leader, the one and only Mickey. I'm just going to try and add him into the group now. Mickey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all good, fella. I'm all good. You?
Yeah, not too bad. Not too bad.
Off here, Mickey, at the moment. I just want to warn you, mate. It's been quite feisty.
Joe and Ben are going to meet outside the pub for a fight in about 5 minutes.
People are digging off Bradders, Mickey. I'm not happy.
Well, I don't really care.
Ben's been on the Stella Artois all day, and I think he's it's got to his head.
But I'm just gonna go back to a comment that was posted, and I can't find it now. But I'm gonna. I don't know where it was. I really apologize. I don't know who it was that said this, but Wes Harding. Wes Harding is an interesting one because I thought he played quite well against Birmingham. When he come on for Hutchinson, didn't set the world alight. Wasn't a superstar. And you look at it today and you think, why was he not given an opportunity?
I don't think Murray did too much wrong. To be fair, I don't think you can blame.
Terrible today, was he? But
yeah, you can't blame him for
I'm in with you there, Joe. I'm not disagreeing there, mate. I think Murray was actually all right.
But you must be sobering up, Ben.
It's a bit stale, like, do you know what I mean? it's all a bit. It's just going stale, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
it's all going stale. This is just, no one's knocking Murray Wallace. Obviously he's been here for like 5 years now. He's been a good player on the whole for most of that 5 years. He's won Player of the Season, but is he up to Championship level?
It's too fucking
even though he had a bad game today. He didn't have a bad game today. Probably
He didn't have a bad game. I think he got
We
forward.
got
He went on a couple of runs. So did Leonard on the other side, didn't he, as well?
Yeah, but when are you going to understand? It doesn't matter if you've had a good 10 minutes out of 90 minutes. It's about 90 minutes. And if you can't fucking play the whole game, don't play. Find someone who can. And the problem is that we're living on this fucking dream that, you know, they've had 2 weeks of prep and whatever else they wanted to do for the last 2 weeks. Yet we move it into a game which every Millwall fan in the country knows how important it is to play Leeds. And we always take it to Leeds. And, you know, yeah, okay, Murray's been here for years and days, so he fucking knows what today means. If not one of those players can pick themselves up and come against Leeds, then I'm sorry, but there's the fucking door. If you can't get yourself up, what's to say that, say for instance, we get a draw with West Ham. What, they're going to fucking turn up like that? Because Leeds is one of the top 3 fucking rivals. Yet we got, you know, we got players who, okay, fine. You might not like the manager. I don't care. If you like the manager or not, you're supposed to do a fucking job. If you can't do that job, then you seriously got to look at yourself, because you're taking X amount of thousands of pounds a week out of the club, out of our pockets, what we're paying week in, week out, and we're watching shit. And yeah, okay, Rowett ain't great. Rowett's football ain't great. But you know what? To the board, he's doing a good job. To us, he's not. But it's not. Today's game weren't just on him. The players didn't look interested. We had fucking a back 5 with 3 fucking defensive midfielders who didn't want the fucking ball. I'm not being funny, but we could put you 3, Joe, fucking Dan, and fucking Stephen in the midfield, and you would have more.
I can't believe I've been benched.
It's fucking bullshit. It's absolutely fucking diabolical.
On that subject,
Bobby just made a good point about Wednesday night potentially, hasn't he? If on your Dimber scores, then it's not going to be good, is it?
On the subject of the 3 midfielders, and I think Ben mentioned you mentioned this in the comments earlier, mate. And looking at the way that we set up today, I don't think, but between Billy Mitchell, Denore, and Campbell, honestly, I don't think there's that much difference in all 3 of them.
All too similar for me, mate.
They're all defensive midfielders. They all don't really want the ball, as Mickey said. They don't want to go forward. They don't want to. Their work. It's a workman.
It's off the ball. They're good off the ball. Mate.
It's a workman. It's a workman midfield. It's a grafting midfield, and that's fine.
Can I just say, I thought I think. Usually I try and defend Billy Mitchell, so I don't think he's a good player, but I thought he had a terrible game today.
Mate, let's throw it out there. Let's throw it out there what everyone's talking about. Billy Mitchell is a one-dimensional player.
I'm not having any Billy Mitchell slander on this.
I feel sorry for Billy Mitchell today.
We can't have it.
Well, do you know what? Unfortunately, Ben, I'm in charge. So, Billy Mitchell is a one-dimensional player, right? He's a good player. He's a great player. I'm not saying he ain't, but one-dimensional. He knows his balls are one-directional, and that's it. He don't go anywhere else.
I get that, but so what did Denore do more than what Billy Mitchell?
What did Campbell do more?
I can't. Billy Mitchell out of that 3 was the.
I think he probably played better than all 3 of them.
If we're playing that 3, if Denore's playing in there, I'd rather have Saville playing in there. That's just my opinion.
Well, this is the thing. Last season, George Saville was best midfielder. He was arguably best player in the team. He was robbed of player of the season.
Why wasn't he starting?
Exactly.
Really?
Why?
So many midfielders.
Today, when you're playing Leeds at home, you need someone to get them about that midfield, get amongst
them. You need a George Saville type player.
You need the George Saville in there, 100%. And I just think, look, we've got an Alan Campbell that's clearly not fit. I think he will really do well for us, but he's not fit. We got a Denore that's come back from injury again. Just couldn't really. He was half a stride away from it. I just felt like today was crying out for George Saville.
Yeah. I said at the start of the show, Ben and Mickey, I don't know if you were there. We needed big match players. We really needed big match players, and the big match players that were available, I include Sean Hutchinson in that, but he wasn't available. The big match players that were available to Rowett were George Saville and Zian Fleming. And for me, I think both of them should have been starting, or at least George Saville got 7 minutes of football.
Yeah,
7 minutes of football.
I'd left by that point, to be completely honest. So
it's not. It is not good enough. And there's a comment that's just come in here from Angelo. Denore is our best midfielder, and he isn't even fit yet. You can tell there's a touch of class. One ball to Bradders today was class. I think he's very good. Don't get me wrong, but he's just come back from an injury, and he didn't quite look at 100%.
Can I chuck that back to Angelo? I'd be like, what he's seeing that I'm not seeing? Because I haven't seen enough.
I think I know where Angelo's coming from. I don't know if I'm speaking.
I think Angelo's probably watching the game without too much fucking Stella in him.
I'm going to have to agree with. I'm going to have to agree with.
No, Mickey, I'm not taking a piss right now. What? So what's
I think what it is. You know what it is? Sometimes it's just his movement. It's his movement off the ball. It's the areas of he picks up the pockets of space.
Joe, he don't have the ball to play off the ball. Do you know what I mean? I'm not. I can't see that.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I think Denore, again, he's probably not 100% fit. But what you do is when you see him on the ball, it's the passes he picks, it's the movement. I've seen him get the ball, pass, and then move into space to receive the ball. But we're not playing to his strengths either. There's so many times he was coming for the ball, wanting the ball, didn't get the ball, or he went backwards to Cooper or something like that, you know. But he's a class player. The Campbell I don't quite get. I mean, I know Campbell is somebody who has been a big player for Luton last season, but again, he's an anchor man. He's a ball-winning player. Yeah,
I'm the other way. I'm more of a Campbell fan than I'm Nora at the minute, and I've seen not much. Campbell. Yeah,
really,
mate. Even
Campbell's better player.
Campbell was trying to get amongst Leeds, and he was like trying to tell the team to push up. He clearly didn't have the fitness to do it, but he was like, there was times where he was trying to press and looking back at thinking, well, I've got no one pressing here.
Yeah,
hang on. We got some Twitter messages. What you boys ain't
before you do that, Mickey. I just want to have a little check in. Dan, are you okay? Because you look like you're so depressed sitting there listening to this. I just want to check in. We're all good, all of us.
Yeah,
everyone's
okay.
I'm
quite enjoying it. I'm just looking what's happening on Twitter. So I'm enjoying it. It's been quite a good listen.
So Paul Monkhouse, number 7, says the players play to instruction. End of crap tactics, crap formation. Playing players out of position, we create absolutely fuck all. It's all scrapes and half chances. And then he come back with another one and said, after 4 years at the club, Rowett doesn't get us as a club. End of this. Club used to thrive of the noisy, nasty, loud crowd. Now with his crap negativity, he manages to silence us into utter boredom, for fuck's sake. HK.
Hit the nail. Sorry, Mickey.
He's nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
It's literally everything we wanted to say, completely spot on.
And then Mr. HK, Denore is the only midfielder who can pick a forward pass, head and shoulders above Mitchell and Campbell. Totally agree with him there. And then Reg Fruity Veggie. That's quite a cool name. Why do people keep saying, who are we going to get instead? Like, Rowett is the best we can get. Any manager who knows how to get a team playing the ball along the floor will trump him. He doesn't even know how to stop us conceding anymore. And that's all he fucking had, which is true. What he had was that we used to have a great defence with him because obviously he's a defensive coach and the other fucking 3 million coaches in the team are all defensive coaches. But he ain't even got that now. You know, he went all out attack today and we suddenly just fell apart. And Bart, I don't think Bart was to blame. I think Bart
he wasn't.
Had a good game today.
Couldn't do anything about any of them 3 goals.
I'm gonna. Connor has come in with one of the quotes of the evening. I'm just putting it on the screen now. I'm going to say it. Are we missing the Peckham Pirlo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. The problem is, and on a serious note, George Evans wasn't playing. No, he wasn't playing. No. He wasn't playing. He wasn't getting any game time. So he's been shipped out, and we've signed another midfielder who is now getting game time. But he's to me, Campbell is someone that the club have wanted. He comes highly rated. I don't know a lot about him. I only go on what I hear and what I've seen other supporters tweet and other clubs and you guys and this, that, and the other. I'll be honest with you. I think he looks weak. He's clearly not fit, and I just don't see. I don't see what value he's brought. I'll really maybe prove wrong and give it.
Looks weak.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He looks weak. to me. He just
He
doesn't look
doesn't
like.
He doesn't. I won't go as far as say he doesn't look interested, but he's certainly got no kind of passion. From what I hear about everyone, say about how good Campbell was and how feisty he was as a player, I was expecting him to go in there and win
Start
tackles,
smashing people. Smashing people.
Really taking it to the teams, winning the ball back, and turn over possession and make things happen. But all I can see him do is run around the pitch and very rarely puts any tackles in.
No fuckers fit. Everyone there. We're what, 5 games into the season? Is it 5, 6 games into the season?
And this
we've
is
had 2 weeks off.
Something that Bristol City manager said.
Yeah, we've had 2 seasons. We've had 2 fucking weeks off with people doing other bits and pieces where they've been international or whatever it is and all that lot. But we're not fit. There is not one player out there who looks as if he's fit. Actually, I'll take that back. Well, you fucking tell me, mate. They seem to get injured more than anything else. I would say that Bart looked fit and Bart looked good. He looked as if he's been keeping himself in trim and everything else. But the rest of them, I don't think I could put any of them at all.
I might sound old saying this, but what do they actually do in training these days? Because in the old days, training was about running, it's about fitness. Yes, you do some drills, but a lot of it's about putting your work in, putting your running in, doing your sprints, doing that sort of stuff. I've seen a couple of Mill training sessions, and it's all just sort of tactical stuff, keeping ball possession and a few little drills like that. They don't really work that hard. It seems like the only match fitness they get is from playing matches and games, which is fine. But like you say, you ain't playing a game for 2 weeks. What the hell are they doing behind the scenes? I mean, I'm hoping they're playing games between themselves, like against the under-21s maybe or something like that. But even if they do that, they're probably doing it for a 10, 20-minute game. Ain't going to be a full 90 minutes,
No, sorry. I don't know if you guys have seen it, the comment on the screen from David. Dan, just in case late in the night and your mind is racing, Samaritan's telephone number is 116-123. Say safe. Thank you for looking out for the panelists, David. It's very much
still there.
Thank you.
You still there, man?
Yeah. I'm just thinking about what I might be.
Do you know what? Right, go. Hang on. Go back. There was a comment there a minute ago from Danny. I think. Hang on 1 second.
Mick, do you want to carry on with that because this is doing my head in?
Yeah, no worries.
I'm trying to keep up with it, and it's just doing my head in.
So basically, the atmosphere today was shit for a Leeds game. Totally, utterly.
I disagree there, Danny. I think the atmosphere was there.
Shut up! What game were you at? Did you have too much fucking?
The first hour of the game.
Are you on drugs?
The first hour of the game, I think Millwall fans, we were trying to make an atmosphere. We were trying to make something of it, but naturally, it all fucking got killed out of us, didn't it? When the second goal went in.
You're off your head. You are. Mate, you are.
Mate. You're not here. The fans.
Shut the fuck up, Joe.
All right. Surely someone in the comments.
Shut the fuck up, Joe.
Fans, they try their best.
If you listen, right, Joe, hang on, Joe, right?
Yeah.
You're the same age as me, right? So you've been no legend about it. Yeah, in fact, you're older than me, right? Are you honestly telling me that other Leeds games you've been to rival today? No. Right then. No. So if no other Leeds game you've been to rival today, today's atmosphere was shit.
But I wouldn't say, okay, maybe I'm reading that sentence properly. The atmosphere was shit today for a Leeds game. Okay, I stand corrected there. Danny, you're right. For a Leeds game, I don't think the atmosphere was shit. I saw the first four or five words on his line there, and I was like, what's Danny on about? But yeah, okay, I get it. For a Leeds game, you're right. But then the players give us something to thrive off, don't we? And that wasn't there today.
It also didn't help though.
It says it all, doesn't it?
No, what I would say is the first 15 minutes, it's all us. We started well.
We did, but what did we actually create though? What did we create apart from just pumping long throws in the box and balls in the box? We didn't. What did we do?
Yeah, but atmosphere-wise, that's not.
The atmosphere was there.
Criteria, right?
Oh, mate,
we were on.
Come on. Get a grip, all of you. Really do need to give your head a fucking wobble, right? Listen, right? The atmosphere, it was Leeds, right? Kickoff was coming up. The atmosphere We were filling up. The atmosphere
It was lunchtime kickoff.
Well, hold on a minute. Hold on. No. Half the crowd was stuck outside. There was no atmosphere in the build up to the game.
Listen, right? The atmosphere right at the beginning of it was okay, right? There was a couple of points where the fans started getting on side. You had all the normal songs and everything else and all that. The problem being is that when the referee decisions went fucking drastically about us, it was as if all the fucking day trippers didn't know what to do next and went, oh, that's jolly unfair, referee. What's going on here? Where really, in a normal environment, without being fucking sanitised from the board down and giving us these stupid videos about, be nice, let's go watch football. Football's for all. No, football is where us moody little cunts go to on a Saturday for 90 minutes and we put everything what's ever gone wrong to us in the last fucking week, we put it to rights of that game. And
this man,
that fucking number 10 playing for the opposition, you're a dirty fat cunt. If I want to call you a dirty fat cunt for the whole fucking game, that's what I'm going to do. Because when I leave, I feel better, right? I'm not saying racism. I'm not saying homophobic. I'm not saying any of that. But come on. If you're getting paid fucking shitloads of money per week, are you really telling me that me calling you a fat cunt is going to upset you? And that's going to fucking just make everybody upset? Come on, get a grip. The game's gone mad.
To be fair, I'll chuck it
out there, Mickey.
Hold on a minute, Ben. Hold on a minute.
No. If that's old school Millwall, that goal gets disallowed because someone's getting on the pitch and he's chasing the ref because it was such a fucking foul on this bit. If that's old school Millwall, he's so scared to not give that as a foul that it's just never a goal because it was a foul. And someone's getting on the pitch and chasing him. He's so comfortable with just being it's okay. Yeah. We need to cunt the ref off, see the video? The linesman, everything. We need to cunt them all off.
No, that's it. Did you see the video from what Second Tier Podcast posted? And they're really starting to piss me off. But have you seen the video what Second Tier posted of the Leeds fans coming into the den today?
The Leeds players, yeah, I saw that video.
Mate, that's embarrassing. I mean, there was more horrible fucking venom when Holloway come back, and I stood at the time, and okay, fine, you lot say what you ever want, but when I was fan on the ball, I stood right inside the cordon where the players were, basically right next to that entrance, and some fucking fan, whoever it was a shit shot, but threw an empty bottle of Bulmers. And it just missed my fucking head. If you look at the video where you can see a bit more of it, you'll see that there's a geezer standing in a green jacket next to the commercial ticket windows who suddenly ducks rather quickly. That was me. But we don't get any of that.
The problem is,
that's our problem now, right?
No. I get that, and I get that the atmospheres and and people talk about the hostile environment and the players crumbling under pressure. I get it. I understand it, and we've all seen it, but it's not. Yeah, there's nothing to crumble under because the players and the performances. What gets you off your seat? What realistically gets you off of your seat as a supporter?
I'm with Mickey on this, and I say that referee decision. If that's old Millwall, there's no way that is not foul on this bit because he would have known he'd been petrified for his life that we'd have got after him. If he hadn't have given that decision,
even their linesmen don't give a shit these days. You see, there's no fear. The players taking throw-ins don't give a fuck about us anymore. The days when fullbacks were too scared to take a throw-in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you know what?
We need to get that back. We need to get
exactly. Do you know what, Ben? With what you're saying there, yeah. Do you know what? I would rather us have 8,000 fans in that stadium proper wall, and I don't mean throwing shit on the pitch or whatever. I mean proper wall, so that when someone comes to take a throw in, they're scared, and when someone gets off that coach, they're shitting a fucking brick. Because right now, we've filled ourselves up with day trippers, and we've lost our identity.
There's no way that does not get given in old Millwall. But we've all been Millwall fans for long enough, right? That in years gone by, there's no way we are not intimidating the ref enough. No. Not even intimidating the ref enough because it was a foul, but at least being he's shit scared not to give that because he's scared that someone's going to get at him or we're going to get at him. It was just, we've gone soft. We've gone soft.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, what the fuck was that minute silence for today?
It was the Red Cross when there was a disaster.
Libya, was there?
Or
Libya.
Morocco earthquake
and Libya
or
as well.
yeah. So it's for the Red Cross.
Okay. Sorry, mate, I didn't hear it.
Nicky's like, all right, we'll let that one go through and sit through it, shall we? That one's allowed.
The problem,
listen, right?
Like go through
listen, right?
Can we give him minutes and applause for that or not?
Mate, I'm going to have a hard shit later. Do you know what I mean? Do I get a fucking minute applause for that? But yeah, you know, too much Guinness today, and I'll have a fucking one tomorrow. Listen, I just think that there's too much, mate. Do you know what I mean? It's just, but the problem you've got with things like the minute silence and all of this isn't Millwall. This is all being dictated to by the FA and the EFL and everyone else and all that lot, and so many different things. That video coming out the other day wasn't necessarily what Millwall wanted to put out. It was put out because if it all went wrong today, they got
get out clause.
Yeah,
they got a get out clause.
Yeah, they had no worry to worry about it because it didn't seem to go all wrong. But if it had gone all wrong today, then that's their get out because they've gone, well, we've tried, we've done this, we've done that, and that's it. And that's where we are now. It's about protecting yourself rather than things. So because of all of that, they would rather have all the day trippers. I mean, you know, today in CBR Lower, amount of people standing in the thingy, mate. Amount of times that English wasn't even a native tongue you were hearing, mate. It was, you know, people ain't got a clue who our left back is compared to our right back. I mean, to be fair, nor do I. But it's just, do you know what I mean? It's just. Well, I had to say it before one of you lot or someone in the comments did it, right? I just think that it's just absolutely mental, right?
That's what the club wants, isn't it?
It is. But you've got to ask yourself, right, what do you want? And it's like with the club, what do you want, club? Do you want mid-table, sanitised, Millwall, and bore the shit out of people? But you're going to be able to sell tickets to a lot of day trippers and fill your stadium up with people who will, you know, wave a flag or wave a banner or wave a scarf or whatever it is, it's there. Or do you want us? Because if you want us, there is no in between. So don't sit there at the next time we've got a big game and go, we need the 12th man and we need you to do this and we need it to be this and we need it to be that. Because if that's what you want, then put me in the dressing room before a game and I'll tell the cunts what it is. Because the thing is, playing for this team is about giving 110%. I couldn't give a fuck if you got beat 20-0 today. But if every player out there looked they wanted to be on that pitch, then I'm happy with that.
That's the thing.
As long as we went out there and we went through some of their fucking,
that's the thing.
their midfielders.
You look at Gary Rowett. What do you think Rowett says in the team tools? Do you think he gets the lads up for it? Because to be honest, like I listen to half the stuff he says after game. I haven't listened to Leeds one. I'll probably listen to it before I go to bed because that'll probably send me off to sleep, no doubt. Like it doesn't get you up for it, does it? Like the way he just speaks.
He's not a motivator, is he? He's not someone who's going to galvanise and.
What was the point of that video as well?
What I would say in his defence, you lads are obviously all there today. Obviously, I watched it on telly, but every time he was doing his nut. He wasn't sat there just placid and not really interested. He was doing his nut. So
he's probably paid Sky for that, doesn't he? He works for him, so he probably said get some shots of me looking angry.
That's where the cameras on. You could probably see where the cameras on him, and that's why it's on the big screen.
But, mate, what I'm trying to get is like we can dig him out for everything, but.
Hang on, Ben.
Gary, if you can hear me, get back in the car now, mate, okay?
And fuck off. Shit. And I don't give a shit, right? Enough's enough. Come on, Ben, you've got to admit to this now. I'm not around out, but where do we go from here? He obviously can't motivate the players. Every big game we've had, he's ruined it. He's ruined the atmosphere. Well, I mean, what Dan stat from earlier, we've had 4 wins in 15 games at the Den. 4 wins in 15 games at the Den.
I get that.
So
Hold on a minute. Hold on a
solely
minute. Hold on a
blaming
minute.
that on Rowett?
You can't. You cannot put everything down to Gary Rowett. I understand his football and his tactics are not great, and
Right.
I know.
All right, Stephen.
Oh, he's already had he's bottled it already.
No, because someone phoned me.
All right, Stephen. On that, right?
It's not all Gary Rowett. It's not.
Okay, Stephen. It's not all Gary Rowett. Whose fault is it?
I think it's a combination of Gary Rowett and the players.
Yeah,
I think it's. I think
what players? Who do you think don't want to fucking be on that pitch?
it's not. Hold on. It's not. I'm not saying that they don't want to be on the pitch. I'm just saying that level of performances. We're talking about level of performances. Billy Mitchell's level of performance has not been good enough this season.
Hasn't been good enough.
I don't agree with that.
Zian Fleming, his performances have not been good enough this season. Murray Wallace's performances have not been good enough this season. They're three players that have played a lot of games for this. Okay, Fleming. Okay, it's his second season, but have played quite a lot of games for this football club. Billy Mitchell's come through the academy. In my opinion, I don't think the three of them have been good enough. I don't think we've seen enough. This is the next category of players who I'm trying to be lenient towards, because I think players like Bradshaw, like
I'll fill Cooper in that
just
bracket.
cut him off
because,
No, I haven't touched him.
No, he keeps getting someone phone him. We'll put Bradshaw into along with Bradshaw. We'll go with like Cooper in that bracket as well.
Mate, how can you stick Bradders in there? He scored 17 goals for us last year.
That was Stephen's contribution.
That was then. This is now.
Yeah, but mate, you also there needs to be some credit in the bank. Surely.
Bradshaw then is a poor man's Nisbet.
I don't necessarily disagree with that statement, Joe. I actually don't necessarily disagree with that. But we can't be digging Bradders out for our poor performances.
Ben, is what you're saying here that, you know, we can't just put loyalty in the bin, but is that where our problems are coming from? Because we're sticking with too many players that have known what? Actually, yeah, I do such agree a long time.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that, because people like Murray Wallace, for example, I love Murray. You all know that. He was on our table for the end of season awards. I love him. But I think we need to move on from players like that. I think we really do. But Bradders is not our problem, lads. Bradders is not our problem.
Hold on. Before I got cut off there. I'm not saying Bradshaw is part of the problem. That's not what I'm saying. But Tom Bradshaw scored 17 goals last year, and someone can fact check this, but those 17 goals come in about 10 games, 11 games out of 46 league games.
We scored 6 in 2 games. So
now I have a lot of time for Bradshaw. He works incredibly hard, and I'm not saying that he's part of the problem, but you cannot have a striker in the Championship when all the noise is coming out from the management and the board that, you know, we want to get promoted, we want to be a top 6 club. You cannot have a striker that essentially doesn't score for over 30 games of a league season.
Okay,
you can't. You can't.
Twofold here, right? I would say there's a fine line between a Millwall type player that we all bark on about, we all love, and having a Tom Bradshaw, or having a Tom Bradshaw out there today that didn't really do much. He had one opportunity, or Kevin Nisbet that didn't do anything.
Right, but the difference is, the chance that Bradshaw had, he should have squared it. If he squares it, Nisbet scores and we equalise.
He's won the second half. He should have squared it.
Yeah, he should have squared it.
No shot, mate.
He should have squared it.
No, sorry.
Okay.
If he squared it.
Okay, but then if you look at Leeds' second goal, the goal that they pass it back round the goalkeeper and it ends up falling to Pirro to have a tap in.
James fell over.
But he still passed it. He was trying to pass it.
He didn't pass it. That was a shot. He fell over. He didn't pass it. He fell over.
Listen, right? Fuck all this fucking making up for this and making up for that. The fact of the story is, right, they've known we're going to be playing Leeds today since the 20th of June.
Mickey, right? It's not about Leeds, though. It's not about playing for Leeds. It's not.
No, it is. Because
it's not.
No, it is. Because, listen, it's not with the players being shit. No, but Rowett and that team of players knew we were playing Leeds today. And he decided that playing Leeds at home made sure that we needed to go a back 5 and 3 defensive midfielders what done fuck all with the ball, who didn't look as if they even wanted the ball at their feet. Yeah. And okay, I can understand why he did that. He thought that maybe it would hold up their midfield. But that's great. But just let me know what you're going to do with that. It's okay holding up their midfield, and we were doing a good job of it. But how are we supposed to win a game? I'll tell you how we're supposed to win a game is change the fucking lineup and don't play back five at home and go for it a little bit more. Have a bit of trust in your players. Have a bit of fucking belief in your ability as a manager and go for it. Don't sit there and fucking play for a draw at home and go, we'll play for a draw. And then the 75 minute, we'll have a bit of luck and we're breaking on the counter attack. Because that's pretty much all Leeds did to us, mate. They went for it, 3 shots on goal, 3 counter attacks, 3 goals. The first goal was probably the best bit of football in that game up to that point.
I don't disagree, but the problem is the fact that we have a manager that doesn't have a system. He doesn't have a best 11, and we don't have a plan B. Every single week.
We don't have a plan A, let alone a plan B.
No, but every single week last year, when we moved to the 4-2-3-1, we could pretty much nailed on, I would say 9 or 10 of the starting 11. You knew who was going to play in the holding role. You knew who was going to play in the attacking midfield position. You knew the goalkeeper. You know the defenders. Yes. This season, we chop and change. We try this player. We try that player. We try this tactic. We try 1 up front. We try 2 up front. We've had Fleming on the left. We've had Fleming central. We've had SA at centre mid.
Stephen, did he do it last season as well? Didn't Gary Rabbit tinker quite a bit the first sort of 5-10 games?
Yeah, and it didn't work. It didn't work. So why go back to it now? Why do it again?
What we're going to do in a couple of games' time is going to sit there and move back to a back 4 or a back 3.
What he did last season, isn't it?
Exactly what he did last season, and then we're going to start playing well. And then he's going to sit there and go,
he'll sign some
actually, of course he will. That's the way it is. I mean, frankly, look, you know, if you're one of the 8,000 proper wall, what stops you creating an atmosphere because 4,000 extra are there?
True.
What does it doesn't make sense. No, what doesn't make sense is that when you've got 4,000 or 8,000 proper wall there, everyone sings in unison, everyone sits there and they're on the same page. So when a tackle goes in, everyone's on it. Rather than at the moment, if you've got 8,000 fans, 2,000 in each part of the stadium around, they're not going to create an atmosphere because they're all going to be segregated. They're all going to be at different points. As you heard today, there's certain bits and pieces. You'll have a song starts over there, and then all of a sudden the South Stand will pick it up and hear it, and they start doing after they've done it, or vice versa, and all that. I'm talking, go back to the Huddersfield game when we had Huddersfield at the Diet night in the playoff. That was vile. That was pure evil. And that's what today should have been about. And it weren't. It just wasn't like that at all.
But you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that with having no patterns of play and no style of football. I said just before we come on to Dan, after the Norwich game, I had enough. I was pissed off. I'd sat there and watched 90 minutes of absolute dross. And on the way home, just completely had enough. And after that, he'd brought in Norton Cuffey. He'd brought in Campbell and who was the other one? Campbell and Longman. And thought, right, okay, he's brought in some players. We got a result against Stoke. We got a battling point against Birmingham, which we all would have taken. You think, right, you've got 2 weeks. I know players went on international duty, but it wasn't the whole squad. You've got 2 weeks to galvanise this team and come up with a game plan and a way to beat Leeds United at home. And if the plan that he had worked on for 2 weeks, he would have known who he would have wanted, providing players come back fit. If that was the best plan that he could come up with to play with 3 defensive midfielders that sit in front of a back 5, I'm sorry, but that is not good enough, and that is not going to get me off of my seat. I don't think it's going to get any of the listeners off of their seat, and it's not going to get anyone to really want to create an atmosphere. I went into the game.
Can I say we had a corner after 32 seconds?
Yeah,
but that's from a centre that got kicked up. The defender fell to clear it and went out for a corner.
Right, so now we're getting nitpicky. You're saying we
No,
weren't on the front foot.
Ben,
We
Ben,
got on the front foot. And
Ben,
now
we're
we're
on
moaning about.
We're on the front. We were on the front foot for 10 minutes, but as soon as Leeds scored, what happened?
Yeah, but they scored from a counter attack.
It don't matter. What happened?
Yeah, but right. So that's what we're now over analysing every game to say, oh yeah.
I don't think we are though.
Well, we're not, Ben. We're not, Ben. Ben. Do you think that at Leeds on that counter attack, they just, considering that we had 3 defensive midfielders and a back 5, that they walked through there as if
100%,
as if we just basically went. Thanks
not.
very much for that bribe, mate. We just opened up. We just pied like the fucking the figgy seas, mate. Really,
mate? No, I'm not saying that at all. What we're saying is we weren't on the front foot, so the crowd weren't up for it. Blah blah blah. What I'm trying, the first 15 minutes, we were a better team when we were on the front foot. We had a corner
agreed.
After 32
Yeah,
seconds,
agreed.
So we were on the front foot, and they scored on a counter attack.
Yeah, agreed.
A great goal. So we're now saying we're moaning about us not being on the front foot to get the crowd into it. The be all and end all is the crowd isn't what it used to be. That's Mickey. I agree with you. That's the be all and end all of that argument. But we can't say, but it's because the crowd or we weren't on the front foot. The players weren't. We were the best team for the first 15 minutes.
Yeah, but 15. Hold on a minute. 15 minutes.
But we can't be on the front foot for 90 minutes. We can't. That's not what happens, Steve.
No, it's not what happens. But what does happen is that how many times over, I'm not going to talk about under route, but how many times through growing up watching Millwall at home have we come on strong in the second half and given teams an absolute battering? We're kicking home. Hold on. Hold on. No. I'm not saying it needs to be the second half. What I'm saying is that we didn't make 15 minutes of having the crowd on our side and having the ball and having possession.
100%.
We didn't make the most of it, so we gave up. But we gave up. It's not good enough.
We went 1-0 down. We went 1-0. We didn't give up. We went 1-0 down.
Listen, right? Imagine. I don't know. Imagine the playoff team or the a team maybe a little bit before that. But the last real good leaders in the team. If that was us, then Morrison, someone like Morrison, maybe Robbo, Harris, etc., would have grabbed that ball out of the net and fucking gestured to the crowd to say, fucking come on, boys, give it with us, and run back to the halfway line to put that ball on the pitch, and then let's go for it. And that would have drawn in people. Fucking the crowd would have been drawn in and gone. We've got no leaders in the team, mate. We've got no one in that team who, it's all right coming out. I mean, fuck me, I can sit there and come out and give you, oh, yeah, no, I get, oh, yeah, it's really great. Gary said all the right things to me, and I love the fact that you're after me, and yeah, I understand what Millwall's about and all that lot, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I can do that too for 10, 15 grand a week in my pay pocket. I can tell you whatever I want. I mean, people like Teddy Sheringham, as every team he's gone to, has told people how much, he's loved the club and he's supported them for years and all this lot. It is. The fact of the matter is, right, Gary Rowett could walk in and take Pep's job tomorrow and then get the cunts relegated.
Oh, I don't know about that with the quality of players that they've got. I don't know about getting relegated, but what I'm getting at, and I'm not trying to say that we're not, it's not the crowd's fault, and it's not. People always say the crowd need to be brought into the game by the players. We for 15 minutes or whatever it was, we were pretty good, and the crowd were on their side, and I get that, but you can't just expect to do it for 15 minutes. Yes, they went and scored.
We need to score in that period, Stephen. I get that.
I get they scored
in that period.
I get that they scored, and that did deflate the team and it deflated the fans. But where's the get up and go? Where's the drive from someone in a blue shirt? Where is it to say, right, I'm going to grab this game by the scruff of the neck and I'm going to get my team back into this game. I'm going to do something. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
But my point, Stephen, is we're moaning at the players for not getting us off our seats, and I'm saying for 15 minutes of that first half, we were the better side. Yes, they scored in the counter, and then we're going, oh, but we need someone who's going to drag us out of the hole. Of course we do, but we're now saying we need a fucking centre forward who's going to score 40 goals. We need a centre half that's going to win every header. We need a centre midfielder who's going to win every tackle.
Ben, no, we don't need someone
It
to
is.
score 40.
We're asking for everything.
Ben, honestly, we don't need someone to score 40 goals. What we need is someone to score one goal.
Yeah, but Mickey, in that 15 minutes, that's my point, right? In that 15 minutes, we were brilliant, but we didn't create anything. We weren't on top, but we
weren't brilliant, though, were we? Because we were brilliant, we would have created a goal. We didn't.
No, but that's our level, isn't it? That's what I'm trying to. Against those sort of sides, Leeds who are going to be up there in the top 4 or 5 at come end of the season. That's my whole point. We're kind of going. We want us to be brilliant against Leeds. Like it's Leeds. Like,
but even Leeds sat back, Ben, for that 15 minutes. And
we didn't let them, Joe. We got at them, right?
Yeah, but we couldn't break them down still. For all our possession, for all us trying, put balls in the box, what did we actually achieve from it?
Yeah, but I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying not much, but we're also going, but we need someone to drag us through that. Well, we're not that good to be able to do that. We haven't got any players that have got who have we got to drag us through that? No one.
Ben. We're not that good. We've got Cuffy, who's an under-21 England player. We've got
top drawer. I'm not picking out players.
Hang on. Listen. Right, we've got Esse, England player. Right, we've got fucking Saville, Ireland player. We've got fucking 8 or 9 international players. You don't get picked to be international, to play for your country for being shit. So we have got players in that team.
Unless you're Harry Maguire.
What can play?
Listen, 2 of those 3 weren't playing at that time. What I'm trying to get is,
but what I'm saying is that there's players on that team what are capable of being able to do. The problem is we just didn't have the belief. It's as if we go, oh, well, that comment was high up there. The only reason last season is that we got so many fucking injuries, the team pretty much picked itself. And when it did, the players could play. The players decided what they wanted to do.
You know what it was? The players that came in were the players that weren't picked to start that had a point to prove. And therefore they played, they're trying to get into the team. That's all it is.
Can I just say to anybody that's still watching this stream, we've been going for an hour and 40 minutes. I hold it's showing as 87 at the moment, and I literally, if I tip my hat to you all, because this has been what I would say. And Ben, Mickey, Dan, Joe, I'm not speaking for you as individuals. I'm just speaking as a collective for Millwall fans and everybody that's listening. This is what happens when a team is underperforming and underachieving, which we are, in my opinion. We're underperforming, we're underachieving, and it is incredibly frustrating. There's difference of opinions. There's difference of which players are playing well, which players are playing poorly. At the end of the day, there's one man who is paid to make the decisions on this football club, and at the moment, he is being paid and he is making the wrong decisions because he is setting us up wrong. And unfortunately, I'm not someone who wants, off with their head and all that. But unfortunately, if Rowett is too stubborn to change from a 5 at the back, even to the point where he plays a young, bright attacking player at left wing back because he refuses to change from a 5 back, at a point where you're 2-0 down anyway, what's the point of playing 5 at the back? Then unfortunately, there needs to be a change. And the whole, I'm sure the listeners, there's a comment that's just come up there from Danny. Great stream, boys. It's like therapy. It does feel like therapy because sometimes you just need a massive, massive rant. Because today was not good enough for me. It was not good enough from when the team was announced to full time. There were glimpses, there were moments. We had a spell, a good spell in the game, and a chance, a shot on goal. But Steve, at the end of the day,
we can't moan about everything. We moan about the fans, we moan about the players, we moan about the manager. There's got to be a bit of. Well, it's not. So you tell me then, Ben. You tell me at the moment, what is there to be positive about from a Millwall perspective? We got to be a little bit realistic. This league is.
No.
Stop coming up with excuses, Ben.
No. What is there to be positive?
But you're going. Look at this league.
What am I being about positive about? Leeds United are a Premier League team.
And
So I'm not saying we expect
Mate,
to beat
come on,
them today, but we're
mate.
saying
Look at our record against Premier League teams in the FA Cup. Come on, we at least put up a fight. None of them came
am I
to the
being
Den
positive,
and
Ben, or is everyone
walked
just digging me out?
away.
Because like what?
No, none of them.
Well, no,
none
Ben,
of them
hold
came
on.
to the Den and walked.
Ben
Leeds has had a
gets to be
shit
negative
season.
and positive.
Hold on.
Leeds has
Hold
had a
on. No,
shit
hold on.
season
Whoa,
so far.
Wait. Ben, you say you're being positive. Tell me, what is there to be positive about our season at the moment?
No, well, we have won 2 games, mate. It's not like we've lost all fucking 6 games in the league. Do you know what I mean? We have won 2 games. It hasn't been great, but what I'm trying to get at is we're moaning about the fans not getting into it because the players don't get us up off our seats. But the first 15 minutes we were brilliant. Oh, but Leeds scored in the counter, so we're going to counteract that argument with they scored in the counter because they're better than us. We can't moan about absolutely everything. Like there needs to be some perspective in everything we say, right?
This comment here,
Okay. All right.
it was, hold on.
Hang on,
It was
hang on.
boring. It was boring until Ben and Mickey come on. Well, I tell you what, Dan and Joe, we'll just piss off and let.
Hey, mate, you've asked me a question. I'm saying what we got to not moan about. And I'm going,
Ben, right, here we go. Okay. Right. So, Gary Rowett, positive or negative on you? Where are you with Gary Rowett? Positive or negative? Good or bad?
Can I say average?
Okay. Players.
Players, I would actually say it's our best squad we've probably ever. I'm 33. I think it's probably our best squad we've ever had.
Yeah, you drink too much. Fans, you think that the fans are
shit
are good?
Shit. I can't even.
Signings.
Again, I think when you look at the players you signed, we've signed someone from a Champions League team, we've signed someone from Ajax. I think as good as it's going to get, really. Premier League team in Fulham. Yeah, what more do we want from our signings?
Sorry, who have we signed from Fulham?
Joe
Bryan.
Bryan.
Yeah, who was the Ajax player?
Well, Fleming. Fleming. Well, Ajax Academy.
Was he about 12 at the time, though, when he played for Ajax?
Did he not play there for about 6 years? Right, Ajax Academy. Sorry. The North Champions League experience. Like, what? Who did we sign under Neil Harris? It was better than the signings we've had.
Ben. If my fucking nan had wheels, she'd be a bike. Doesn't mean she'd be a.
If my auntie had bollocks, she'd be my uncle as well.
Well, that could well work up Manchester, mate. You know what I mean? So,
right, lads. I'm gonna ask you all 2 questions here. So the first one is we now have 4 games between. Is it 4 or 5? We've got Rotherham, West Brom, Swansea, Plymouth, and Hull. We've got 5. So we've got 5 games for the next international break. How many points are we getting out of these next 5 games? And will Gary Rowett still be the manager after that whole game?
3 and yes.
Straight in. Where the 3 points coming from, Ben?
We're going to beat Plymouth 4-0 just because you're going.
Ah, I love that. That'll make that 6-hour coach journey back more bearable.
If we don't beat Rotherham on Wednesday, what happens then?
Nothing.
He ain't going nowhere.
Rowett's not getting sacked, is he? It's like Rowett's not getting sacked.
So if we draw or lose to Rotherham, who are second off bottom at the moment?
You've got to look at, right? No, you lot are missing the point. The point of the fact is, have you not clocked yet that the club, unless it really starts turning nasty, the club don't fucking care on our opinion. All the club worry about is mid-table. When they look at Rowett, he's pretty much on paper one of our best managers.
He's the most mid-table championship manager you could ever get, I think.
And he is probably, they've got him at a steal. And if they had to go out and look at anyone else, who the fuck would you want to be the caretaker manager while they get rid of him?
You're getting Stephen Reid.
Yeah, what's Morrow doing? Is Morrow still at charge?
Stephen Reid.
Morrow's at Hornchurch, mate. He's a bit.
Is he still at Hornchurch? He's been sacked because we're having.
No, they're doing well, mate. They're doing quite well, actually.
They're doing very well.
Now
They won 6 draws, haven't they?
Morrow's in. Get Morrow.
Yeah.
No, but that's what I'm saying. He's not what we need. We need Stephen Reid, someone who's a bit more with it, play at a higher level.
I need Muscat.
He's currently first team coach at Nottingham Forest. He's been involved with international football as well.
Joe, stop rambling on about Stephen Reid. Tell me how many points are we getting from our next 5 games for the next international break?
Fuck me.
6.
I still don't know we're going to beat Rotherham. Let know everyone else.
6 games because he's gonna
Fuck me, we're going to win the league if we get 6 points out of the next
We're going to get
5.
6 points. We're going to get 6 points out of the next 5 purely because Rowett has a way of when the pressure mounts on him, he manages to fucking win it off someone's left bollock in the fucking in the 97th minute. That's what's going to happen. We're going to get 2 wins in late time, or we're just going to get and hold off, and that's how it's going to be. I mean, Rotherham earlier on was sending posted a message out on Twitter of a blind football team, making a scramble in the goal, saying this is how shit we are at the minute. Don't worry, boys. You'll probably get all 3 points from us because we are that shit.
Who said that?
God, right.
Rotherham fan on Twitter.
Oh, right, okay.
Stephen,
Right,
how many do you think?
7 points.
7. Wow. Okay.
2 wins and a draw.
I'll go. I'm gonna go 5 and go for a win and 2 draws.
I'm going to change the direction of this just for a brief moment and mention the that Millwall podcast community fantasy league, which seems to
wrong this weekend.
Fine, everyone that's got West Ham players is all I'm saying.
I'm in on that.
No.
Yeah, no. There's two people on this group,
Scumbags,
right? Who unfortunately, just in case you don't know who they are, I will show you who they are.
I mean, Joe's come off of he's turned his camera off, so he's just absolutely thrown me under the bus here.
So basically, Stephen and Joe think it's perfectly acceptable
Hello, Ben.
Hello, Ben.
have West Ham players in their team.
It's not. The simple fact of the matter is it isn't.
Oh,
So
no
what we
one
want you
cares.
to do,
Nobody cares.
what we want you to do in the comments is to come up with a forfeit for these two to do, because we think it's totally unacceptable. We did a Twitter poll what said no, you can't have a rival in your team, a player in your team, yet they think that it's perfectly all right. So, is it not okay? And I suppose the other thing you can put in your comments as well is your predictions for Rotherham as well. Might as well get some comments going in there.
Mickey, the only player we could literally, and this is like 5% only, would be Eze. And that is at an absolute push. There's no one else you could have.
Right. Well, as
Tom King, he's at Wolves. Tom King.
As I was saying, at the moment, Alfie Irving is first, Alex Robson second, and Joe, not Joe from the podcast, he hasn't got a surname on here, on 326, 325, and 324 points, respectively. Dan, who's been giving it the big one, saying, I need some competition from the podcast boys, is now only a point ahead of me. So
and
stay in your lane.
Ben's there as well. Ben's joined on 303 with you.
Ben's
Ben,
a
mate,
fraud.
I haven't got any West Ham players. I'm clear of that tiny club.
Oh, so it's just me and you then? Stephen's in band.
Yeah, Stephen has them.
And Joe, I mean, if we're going to... don't think I'm going to be thrown under this bus on my own. Joe sat there all quiet. He even hid his face cam when... He hid his face cam.
Not even quiet. He was going...
There he goes.
He was getting them all in. Wall Prowse is going in. Kurt Zoom was going in. He was chucking them all in.
There you go. Someone's just commented here on the YouTube. Will not mind Ward Prowse though. There you go. See, there are people that find it acceptable. So
what, playing for us or in the
if Ward Prowse wants to sign, he can be my guest.
And Bowen as well. Bowen, no.
Yeah, he'd do all right left wing back.
Yeah.
As Mickey said, a couple of comments are coming up in the chat about a prediction for Wednesday. I'm sure we'll do another show where it is a little bit more or less chaotic, shall we say, and a little bit more structured. But before we perhaps wrap it up, can I get a prediction? We'll start with Mickey first for Rotherham on Wednesday. Okay, Mickey's ignoring me. So
no. I reckon I'm gonna go 2-0
to Millwall.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Millwall.
Ben.
Yeah, I was going to say 2-0 as well.
Joe?
I reckon it's going to be 0-0. It's going to be
Dan?
shit.
Fuck it, let's shake off negative down. 3-0. Come on, Millwall.
So just to clarify, we have just spent about
Get
an
up,
hour and
negative
50
Dan.
minutes and absolutely slating everyone and anyone that we can, and all of you have gone. I mean, apart from Joe, have gone for a positive result. That's what.
Come on.
Because it's the hope what kills you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the hope that kills you.
All
Listen,
right,
we've
all right.
got
I've just
days
been
at work.
dug out for being positive. You've all just told me to stop.
I
I
prefer
will-
negative Ben. Less much quieter, isn't he?
Oh, yeah, as soon as he's had a drink, he gets all leery, doesn't he? And
Do you know the thing is, Rocket? There was a
We're going to win the
comment.
league and you're all going to be eating your words.
No, there's a
I
comment.
will-
Hang on, there's a comment.
Hold on,
I wanna
before we go, I will stick with this positivity then. Just for you, Ben, I will say a 2-1 Millwall win.
If we don't beat Rotherham, we need to pack it up. We'll beat dirty Yorkshire. We'll beat them. We'll beat
Right.
2-0's 2-0's pessimistic. It
Right.
could be 4.
Ben, what's your forfeit then if we don't win? You seem so confident. It only seems right. What would you
Yeah.
do if we don't
I'll
win?
do a Jaeger bomb with you Saturday at West Brom.
I mean, we was going to do one of them anyway, so.
Right, they
Two of
just
them.
took it off, didn't they? Who took that off? Steve.
No, ask a random person in the bar that you go
Right.
into for a drink of their choice. That's what you have to do, Ben.
Right. There, GC. I don't know who GC is. There's only one GC I know, but I don't think she's a Millwall fan and she'll be watching. Do we have leaders? No. We lost to Leeds. Do we have leaders? No. We lost to Leeds team 3-0 who have a 60 million front three. Calm down, lads. No, the difference is that every time Leeds ever come to the Den in past, we've always taken it to them, regardless of who they've got there, whether or not, they've got a great team, a fucking semi-shit team or whatever it is. And it doesn't matter how good the money is. If the players have the heart and the belief, then we can beat anyone on their day. We've proved it over numerous amounts of FA Cups and all that lot. It's been proven. It doesn't matter at all what it is. Yeah, remove your fight. So there was no fight today. Full stop. 100%.
I think it's also
I
a
would have.
combination.
Do you know what? I'd agree with Danny there, mate. I'd have Harry Maguire in our team, mate. He can't fucking do any worse, could he?
I think it's not just. I agree. Leeds is front 360 million, this, that, and the other, and they've got Premier League players. I understand that, and I'm not. You can't expect miracles. I get that, but I think this compared with how we've actually started the season and the level of performances, 4 goals in 7 games, we've shipped more than 3 on 3 occasions. The performances haven't been good. I just think it's just adding up, and it's just becoming more and more of a problem. That each passing week, the news has broke about Sarkic. We haven't spoke about it. He's potentially out for, I don't know, he could be potentially out for months. It's just everything is adding up to a combination of we are not in a good place at the moment. And potentially, I don't know which one of you said it earlier on, but Rotherham is potentially looking like a bloody a 6-pointer already. It's a game, there's pressure on it because we have to go and win it.
I just hope we don't wait until near the end of the season where we're fucking hovering in relegation zone and then they decide to try and get rid of Rowett. I just think, now's the time. We've got a whole season ahead of us. Get someone else in, and let's fucking go again. Do you know what I mean?
Ain't going to happen. But listen, it ain't going to happen. But yeah, hang on one second. Let's get through some of these comments because these people take the time to comment. Let's just do these. Frankie, I'm not saying it's fans. I just personally, on a personal issue, I just think that all these day trippers and everything else, it just causes problems. We've seen problems today with some of them. There's been kickoffs with them. They are a nightmare, some of them. And day trippers just are, it is what it is. It's not my personal choice of day trippers, but I understand why the club really likes them because they spend more in the club shop, they spend more in the club, they spend more money than what most, day-to-day fans do. So I understand that. Going on almost 2 hours, great result, punch in the guts. Totally agree with you. Good streams, it's like therapy. Thank you very much, Danny. First 15 minutes and did not take advantage of them. Yeah, that's completely true. Millwall 5, Rotherham 0. Great one. We've just raised that one.
Sarkic, we don't know how long Sarkic out for. Rowett did initially say 2 to 3 games. Now it's looking it could be a bit longer from what we hear. So
yeah, quad injury again. Quad injury. What the fuck is wrong with our training pitch? But then again, we need the new one, and the new one needs to get built quick. That's a different story there. Who takes over from Rout? We'll come to that at the end before we
Stephen Reid.
Before we go, shut up, Stephen. He ain't going to come here, mate. You've got more chance, mate, of Prince Andrew coming to being our new manager than him, mate. Do you know what I mean? Many thanks for that one, David. Agreed, David. Nice ones. Thanks, Danny. Ben, that Exian come down to he's going to be
Xanax. It's
Xanax. We beat Middlesbrough because my nan's bingo team could beat them at the moment. Ben, you are being positive. The others are moaning old farts. Thanks for that one, fella.
Who said that? Get that bloke on the podcast permanently.
Harris had better signings than Gary Rowett. Let's go. Leeds United are a Premier team. No, they are a Championship. Well said. Oliver says 6 points. All these years on, still almost half the side are Harris's signings. That's a fair point, I suppose, to be fair. Rout will not be going anywhere. Absolutely necessary, unless absolutely necessary. 100% agree with you there. Back in the day, Harris or Murrow smashes some cunt today and gets the fans into it. I can't remember a tackle today. The amount of games we lose and not one player gets a yellow is a disgrace. Absolutely.
That's three defensive midfielders on not one proper tackle.
Lose to midfield, the fans will turn. Maybe. Never seen such regular full houses at the Den. Where are we? Murrow could do one. I agree with you there. Morrison, you've got to be joking. No way. Absolutely agree with you there. Bring back Wisey. Wisey wouldn't come back. We might do, but I don't know. Yes, 12 points.
Mickey, wow. Who would you think about?
I'll come to that in a minute. Let's just get
honestly at this point. I'd have one of you lads.
I could send my Football Manager CV in if needed.
Well, that got out of a job. So
mine's undefeated. You lot play FIFA.
No West Ham.
Don't start with
that. Me out of the league.
Jesus.
Yeah, look, David.
Hang on, we've got
no West Ham and Palace, and he says
kick them out the league.
Kick them out the league.
Correct. 100%. Kick them out the league.
The best thing is that I set up the league. So I ain't going nowhere. I ain't going nowhere.
Get them out. Get them out.
Make them sit in the Docker stand in full wet spam kit and boots and all. Yeah, that could be a good one there, mate. Yeah. Millwall 7, Rotherhithe 1.
Stephen Reid.
No. Listen.
Stephen Reid.
I know who that is. Yeah, and let's just say his football knowledge is.
Melvin knows what he's talking about.
He's probably below par, only to mine.
He's quality, Melvin.
Where are we? I liked it, Joe. Right. Disgraceful behaviour. Bring back Smith. No West Ham.
At the moment, couldn't we?
Yeah, I suppose. We at least would have someone to fucking kick the ball. Mickey is ever
about Alan Campbell, by the way. Mickey, can you just go back by one comment? Yeah, that's a great comment there from Fred.
Stunt double.
3-0 Fleming. Boring 0-0 draw out.
Why is Fleming playing the under-21s?
No. Where are we? It's 11 men versus 11 men. For fuck's sake, effort, passion, and the will to win is all you need. Absolutely agree with you there. Right, I think we pretty much got most of you. Great show. See you Wednesday, lads. Yeah, we'll see you Wednesday, and we'll see you afterwards for another chat. Right, and there we go. I would look at Muscat, because he's been helping the Australian fella. Mm-hmm. I would say he would be my choice for a manager.
Yeah.
And I would either go with Cahill as his number 2, which I don't know if Cahill would go into management. or
you
I
just
would
read
have
off what Neil Holdings is
Nah.
saying.
Yeah. I agree with what you're saying. Muscat, 100%. But I would probably look at maybe Alex Ray as number 2. That's who I would have thought of before. I would have put Muscat and probably 2 people who get this club, get what it means to get the fans on side, have a bit of passion, have a bit of an out, have a bit of something about them, and they're not afraid to go through people, etc., etc., etc. They would be. But do you know what? Paul has probably done a good one there, because I don't know if Muscat's ready for first, but Wilder and Muscat, what's a fucking team?
I think Muscat is ready. Muscat's been managing now for a while.
What style of football does he play though? I mean, he's not a 4-4-2 hit it long.
No, mate, he's an Ange Postecoglou disciple. So if you watch Tottenham, you know we'd be in for a treat.
I might bet that.
I mean, he's been managing now for a while. He's had 6 years in Australia. He had a short spell in Belgium.
We need a motivator. We need a bit of passion.
At the minute.
Got to get the players playing.
The thing is, though, I think someone said this on a show the other week. If one of the players walks off that pitch today and thinks, "I put a shit performance in," what's Gary Rowett going to do? He might have a word with him at training. Like, you know, what would you do?
Imagine?
What would you do if you was in that dressing room today, putting a shit game against Leeds and walked in that dressing room to Muscat?
Yeah. Well, for starters, you wouldn't he? But
would you imagine Muscat and Alex Ray waiting for you? They'd be next to that change room and going, "In you come, boys," and then fucking Muscat would just smash you all over the dressing room. That's what you need. They need to have a bit of fear in them, mate, and someone who can liven them up. And at the moment, we just don't seem to have anyone who can liven them up.
Negative Dan wouldn't be out because he'd be scared of Muscat.
Mickey, can you do the rest of this show in the Alex Reid accent, please?
Alex Reid? Who's
Alex Ray?
Alex Ray.
Accent.
No, Alex Ray. Alex Reid. Come on, fella. Do you know what I mean?
It's impacted by Joe shouting Stephen Reid.
I'll tell you, if you want to know about Thingy, the old Kenny, Paddy Kenny and Muscat, the Barney in the tunnel. We on one of our past videos on our channel, mate. Have a look for. I think it's Mark Phillips spills the beans on what went on that day. That was quite interesting to say. So yeah, I think we're all done, haven't we, boys? You've had me for an hour, mate, and I seem to have brought a bit of.
I think I just need a bit. I think I just need a bit of a lie down.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, after this.
I'll be up at 6 a.m. in the morning, so.
It's not that. I can't cope anymore.
I think Alex is there. I think we'd have so many lawsuits, mate, with too many fucking nightmares. Do you know what I mean? Did Muscat flop in Belgium then, did he?
I don't think it went too well for him in Belgium.
I don't think it goes well for many people in Belgium, to be fair, mate. They put fucking mayonnaise and ketchup on their chips. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit of a strange one. So yeah, but
Muscat's record.
No, we'll have a look.
In Belgium. He managed 15 games and won 2. Okay.
All right, it's shit. Get Stephen Reid in.
Stephen Reid, who's managed 1 caretaker game.
We're wrapping up now, guys.
That's it. We're all done. So on that,
I'm surprised I've got more than like 5 people at the moment listening to this.
No, it's currently 75, and honestly, they're all going to be scrolling back. They're all going to be scrolling back, getting this. No, they're going to get the Samaritan's number.
Yeah, we've got 73. We've got 73.
Yeah, but you lot, fucking hell.
We've got 73 on Facebook, on YouTube, and about 5 still sticking with us on Facebook, and then we've got a load on.
You guys are the real heroes. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, you stayed with us, Thingy, mate.
Yeah.
And we've put you through. You've not only have you suffered 90 minutes of.
But you suffered 108 minutes with us as well.
Yeah, you not only suffered Rowett today, you've then had to suffer 60 minutes with these fucking wankers until me and Ben come on and save the day. So, yeah.
I feel like Superman.
Yeah, so do I. I've got to do some editing now to get this out as a pod for you lot in the mornings, so that you lot can listen to us in the morning, in the car on the way through. You can listen to... YouTube now as a podcast, by the way, if you want. It does get saved on YouTube now as a podcast, so accordingly you can play it without having it on the screen. If you go
need to
through
book
the
half a
podcast.
day's holiday off work to listen to the Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You can't fit it into a fucking cheeky fag break, could you? Unfortunately.
And thank you very much, Paul. As always, we do try to please. We aren't like any other show out there. We speak the truth. Joe speaks bollocks, and Ben just. I've got no idea.
Hold on,
Ben
whoa.
Listen, I'll
Before
come
we
back
go,
and
hold
pub
on,
early
whoa.
for this, right?
Hold on. He's my name's spelled. No, don't. No. It is with a PH, but I will let this slide. For Joe, we're getting there. We'll sort it out, mate.
Yes.
We're getting there. We'll sort it out.
We're
Mate,
gonna
Stephen plays FIFA. He ain't getting anywhere near.
turn the table over.
We're going to leave.
Only.
We're going to leave that one. We're going to leave you with that one. All right. And I think there's best for libel reasons that we don't have a comment on the back of that.
Yeah,
and then Bobby, comment of the evening. That's it. We're done. Say bye, boys.
Boom. Bye, boys.
Cheers, all.